facts about the trust.
From Israel, now Imagine is ready to do that. Now the Womerson, Demo against Hyper. He needs to clear that hill. The boys in yellow. Hyper finds him, shuts him down. And 340, 10 more seconds through that door. The oil money team are they going to make history? Very first land, very first win. 347, 348. Now the contest. The boys in lead, no way through. And they are going to hold it down. So S are your champions.
Miracle.
Two sips of Monster Energy.
One's just. A happy boy. Energy.
The facts about the trust.
From Israel, now Imagine is ready to do that. Now the Womerson, Demo against Hyper. He needs to clear that hill. The boys in yellow. Hyper finds him, shuts him down. And 340, 10 more seconds through that door. The oil money team are they going to make history? Very first land, very first win. 347, 348. Now the contest. The boys in lead, no way through. And they are going to hold it down. So S are your champions.
Monster Energy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the NPL Season 8, the Nigerian Pro League Season 8. We're about to get into more and more chaos and more action, to be honest. We've seen one Super Weekend go by, and now we're about to see yet the end of another and the final Super Weekend. But before we go into further details, my name is Crowns, and with me today, I've got the one and only Tinubu of esports. You get me? It's none other than Priest. How are you doing today, Priest?
You already know the vibes. We're outside. It's the last day of Super Weekend, so we just had to give you guys a little treat. We're not supposed to see both of us together like this. It's like Thanos, Avengers level, but it's overkill. It's overkill. But it's the last day of Super Weekend. We want to see who is going to be top 6, who is going to advance to the finals right out the jump, because you already know some teams, this will be their last time in this stage of the event before we move over to the survival week. But Crowns, you saw the games yesterday. You were impressed with some teams, but some teams were still trying to find their level.
In fact, at this point, we might have lost him, but just to piggyback off of what he said, exactly, there were some teams that I said I'm very, very impressed to see, to be honest. And now there were other teams that I wasn't too happy and too impressed with. But man, I believe the leaderboard is going to gear you towards those teams that I'm impressed with and those that I'm not so happy about. 3 Crown Esports sitting at the top of the leaderboard there, but this is just for this Super Weekend, might I add. Then we've got Tribe Gaming or Tribe Warriors in second, Black Mamba in third, 10-11 XTC in fourth, Neon in fifth. So those are pretty much the only 5 teams that came to play yesterday. Every other team did not seem to find their footing. I'm going to give DT and RT, like Stream Team and RT Esports, I'll give them a little benefit of the doubt, or I'll give them a little bit of grace and hope that the last 2 games yesterday, or pretty much the last game yesterday, was them getting back on their footing and finding their way back up to the top of the leaderboard, or maybe back into that top 6 spot, because I promise you there isn't that many spots left. And speaking of spots left in that top 6 overall, it is going to be 14th gaming spots, which I said yesterday would be up for grabs, because we know for one, Jazz Gaming is no longer in that top 6. We know it's not possible anymore, but it's just a case of now who is going to occupy that spot in there. And we know one of either Black or, well, actually maybe Black Mamba or Tribe. Not even Tribe. I think it's Black Mambas would be that team that has occupied that spot for the time being, which means the only team that has been slacking in that top 6 from last week, which was 14th Gaming, are the ones who have to fight to hold their position in that top 6. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they would approach the games today. Dream Team, RT Sports, I do not know how much of a chance they might need to pop off every single game today in order to show, or in order to make it into that into the grand finals, or well, into the finale or the split finals, coming for next week. But that being said, man, top players that we saw yesterday, definitely finger with that last game there from Tribe Warriors, making it all the way into the top 5 list. And to be honest, it's something that kind of shocks me a little bit, but hey, they did do their thing. He made it up to the top. Before that, it was more chicks from Neon Rising showing us exactly what he is made of. 16 or make that 15 eliminations in one day. 16 coming in from Finger. But as I said, the reason why I don't want to give Finger too much accolades, of which is probably a reason I should give him more accolades, is because he got 12 eliminations in one game. He necessarily wasn't on the top players list until that final game where he got himself 12 eliminations. But more chicks consistently putting up numbers in every single game of the day. Black Donk, which I believe should be Gym Rats, a definite strong player for that team. Maybe it's not Gym Rats, but I know Donk, if he truly played yesterday, and Gym Rats definitely were 2 teams or 2 players who were doing a lot of good work for Black Mamba Reborn as of yesterday. But then Tribe Warriors, Sock, definitely one of those players too who showed his prowess as of yesterday. I think I saw a lot of a bit of teamwork coming in through from the side of Tribe Warriors, and maybe that is one of the reasons why I really wanted them to win again. But unfortunately, they were not quite able to bring any games quite home. And 3 Crown Esports getting just one player to show his face here in Merrick. And in all honesty, Merrick did do well. But if I were to point out another player there in Three Crown Esport. I would say Quila also had such good runs as of yesterday, and I think we finally got Priest back. Do we got Priest back?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm back. I'm active. I mean, is the internet was playing around with me a little bit, but yeah, we saw the leaderboard, we saw the teams, we saw the players. Three Crown Esports currently leading the charge, looking very comfortable. But we did want to talk about the other teams like Dream Team, 14th Gaming. Because I'm looking at the leaderboard from week 1 right now, and Three Crown Esports, and Dream Team, 14th Gaming. These guys are currently in the top 6, from last week, except for Dream Team. They finished 8th. Dream Team didn't have the greatest super weekend in week 1, and they're not really having a great weekend, another super weekend in week 2 as well, and they are really, they've really made it interesting for the top spot right now, because you did talk about Arab T and a couple of other teams that could, they could have the potential for something big, but they have to go all out. They have to go to the extra mile. Teams like No Rivals, Unsullied Army, Athlete Game, these guys need to step up to the plate. They need, to go just a little harder. Because survival weekend is not going to be very easy. It's not going to be easy, at all. But then map structure is also going to be a factor to crowns. Erangel, Miramar, Sanok, and Rondo. And don't forget, match number 8 is worth double.
Look at that. Match number 8 is going to be worth double, so you want to make sure you're keeping your eye out. And, that's something that I did mention yesterday from those teams that you mentioned. Like, you did not make Super Weekend last week. If you're making Super Weekend this week, you need to go all out, and that's one of the reasons why I was looking at 4 portions as of yesterday, but they only had the one good game in the beginning and did not seem to be able to pivot off of that in the remainder of the games. But today we'll be going with the same map structure as of yesterday. Erangel to get things started, down to the sandy dunes of Miramar. We go into the Sandhawk Chaos, and hopefully we get yet another chaotic ruins game as we did yesterday, and have a good way to end the game. And I really want to see the attitude teams are bringing in, given that that last game is going to be a double points game, or double the points. I want to see the kind of attitude that they bring into that final game.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Crowns is voting for the underdogs. He's like that. He's a generous guy. But as for me, I don't understand how Dream Team and 14th Gaming in the group stages, they're cooking. These guys, I mean, you should have seen the points they were doing in the league stages in Group Green. They were going absolutely insane. I don't know what's happening now. Would you say that the Super Weekend is just a little bit much more difficult than the league stages? But then, is it by that much of a margin, between those two teams, between Dream Team and 14th Gaming? Because right now they're not impressing.
Yeah, to be honest, I would say yes. That is exactly the case. It's just that difference, or that margin of difference, really, for the lobby. Because I mean, you're looking at the lobby where, or you went I'm going to point out 14th Gaming, for example. You're in the league stage where you're able to win 3 games in one lobby, right? And then you come into but that lobby did not have some of these big hitters in that lobby there, and now you're in that lobby, the same lobby with those big hitters, and unfortunately, we're not quite able to see them, pop off as much as they were. We're not really seeing the tactical plays anymore from them. So it starts to get a little confusing, really, which I can understand why I say, but I just think it's a case of that lobby is just a little too hard for them, because we currently have a lobby where 5 teams are absolutely popping off, right? 5 out of 16. So that leaves 11 teams, that are not quite able to do anything much, which is where you start to wonder, what is the attitude that these other teams are bringing in? Like Dream Team, 14th Game, what attitude are you bringing into the Super Weekend? Because I asked yesterday, are you all just coming to Super Weekend to say you made Super Weekend? Or are you coming to Super Weekend to actually make top 6 and get yourself a head start into the final?
Exactly, because it's also very important to note that the Super Weekend points still tie towards the grand final points. I don't know why, nobody's talking about that. It's Also very important to note that Super Weekend points tie into the grand finals. The same way they tie into the finals, they tie into the grand finals. So you would, your points also play a role in how you would get into the grand final, which is the end all be all of this tournament. But again, interesting zone we have, Crowns, from the south. Most of the teams that we are seeing here, they're all spread across the northern side, a little bit more central for them. But I think this is the type of zone where Neon Rising would enjoy, because they do love to play from military base and those areas. No rivals as well. But for the meantime, four portions. You were right. You were talking about them yesterday. They had a very, very good first game, but it slipped away from them from game two, game three. They couldn't keep that momentum. Do you think they did anything wrong, or do you just think they didn't adapt quick enough to what the lobby was going to throw at them for the rest of those games?
Yeah, they didn't adapt at all to the lobby, and it's a little bit of a lack of play style that I'm seeing as well, because it's like you came into the first game, you were able to get yourself 7 points, right? And then we started going into the next game, and it's a tough battle between, do you want to go for an early rotate, or do you want to rotate later on in the game, and that's where I started to see that little bit of inconsistency from them, because the instance they started moving, they're getting caught up on rotations. And I keep saying it, when the lobby becomes a 16-man lobby where you can do a little bit of a study on some of those teams, maybe do those study and to just kind of know that, okay, this is how I can rotate and this is places that I can be, which is one thing that I'm going to keep my eye out for in this first Erangel game of the day. As you said, Neon Rising is one of those teams that are on the military island, and Dream Team is that team that lands beside the bridge. So I'm going to keep my tabs on Neon Rising, sorry, no rivals really, to kind of see how they rotate into what looks to be a military based zone, because we know Dream Team is going to be on that bridge, right? That is one team to be there. I feel like anyone who's trying to use the Novo Bridge should be expecting the likes of Tribe Warriors on there. But once again, if I'm looking at the other teams, I'm looking at the teams on the military island as well, because right now, other than Dream Team, I don't seem to see any of the other teams on the military island looking to pull up a little bit of, or looking to put up any sort of breach camp going on. So maybe teams might be able to rotate in early.
Ooh. Well. No rivals are gonna be on the receiving end of some interesting ambushes. I know that when they play this back, they're gonna be hurt to see that Sue was just hiding in the bushes there, waiting for the chaos to break through. And Sue will be charging another grenade, sends one perfectly onto the ground. And Madara is going to be the one that gets hit with that grenade. And another grenade to follow suit. No rivals in trouble right now. Madara has to think really hard, and you can't turn your back to the opposition. But unfortunately, he will be getting dropped off. Liquid Metal all by his lonesome on the back end, and he doesn't move the muscle, does he? He does. Peeks out right-hand side, and a good spray to follow suit, but looks like that's going to be a wrap for no rivals.
Oops. Yeah, I feel like no rivals should have known that they had a team around them. So really, ideally, staying on low grounds that close to the edges isn't something that I would expect to see them. But once again, this is now the attitude, or this is what I'm talking about. Yesterday they didn't get hot dropped. Today they have gotten hot dropped. Well, they did get hot dropped yesterday. Just the fight didn't go for long because we saw Dark Knights just leave that fight alone. But nonetheless, it's still one of those cases of defending your play or your drop spots. They didn't seem to play like they knew or like they were aware that there was a team with them. But well, they are backing out, and now they have 3 games to try to sort of pull a rat out of a habit. Really, sorry, hat out of the rabbit. Yeah, actually, yes. I'm not gonna use the other way around. But they're really gonna have to pull a hat out of the rabbit really in order to make it into the top 6 to make finals.
I mean, I believe in no rivals. I think they can do something special. I think they can turn things around, but I want to see, what the attitude is going to be for them going into the last couple of games. But I don't know what the bubble is going to be looking like right now because, from week 1, Umoja Gaming was in the top 6, and they were with 53 points. They finished with 53 points. So right now, they didn't make the Super Weekend, so it's kind of tricky for them because the likes of Dream Team have already surpassed them. Vanguard Esports as well could make it happen. I mean, Vanguard Esports, that would be a very interesting one to see, though. if Vanguard Esports actually do make the finals, because that would be crazy. I know there's a bunch of people that's not gonna stop talking, dog, if they do make it through. Because but unfortunately, you currently have like 9 points, so I don't know what they can do with that coming into this game. But I mean, it would be impressive if they were to turn things around.
I mean, I was already saying it that the sports being held by Yemoja Gaming is pretty much gone. At this point, I just feel like Yemoja Gaming shouldn't even be thinking about getting into that super weekend at all. They should just start to strategize how they're going to play in that survival round. But speaking of strategizing, Neon Rising would be needing to do a little bit of that, as they do seem to be down to the final two player, and it's looking like, oh, he's back. But yeah, we're be down to the final two players there. In the side of Nax and Chicks. Sadly, we'll try to see how well they'll be able to hold up. Maybe that's a way to kind of slow down the side of Neon Rising to get things started in this second day of the super weekend.
Yeah, I want to see. I really want to see how they will progress going forward. But again, I would be more interested in seeing, the likes of Ecstasy, if they do want to go for that top position, because right now 3 Crown Esports could be in a little bit of trouble. They've lost Merrick, so they will have to re-strategize. But Quilla is in a good spot on Solid Army. Do they want to commit? It looks like they want to commit to this relationship, and Nexus will circle back again, tries to get an angle there, but Bebe is on the other side as well. Good grenade from Cloud, but unfortunately just a couple of inches shy, not enough to get the job done. And on Solid Army, can they use their numbers to their advantage? Bebe has been spotted. That was a good grenade, but unfortunately it's not enough. I mean, he's right in the corner, but I think the next one will get the job done. Yeah, surely. Absolutely clean work. And on-Solid Army now falling one after the other to the grenades. It's meant to see on to the right-hand side. Cloud going for it. Gets the first drop. Again, paints it to the right. Beautiful teamwork from on-Solid Army. 48-64 will get the drop, but Nexus is there again to close out the final third. And Layla, surely, the last one left for on-Solid Army. Quilla is galloping to the rescue and a peek into the corner. Nexus will claim. On-Solid Army will be going out the same way they came in.
I said this, made the same remark about on Solid Army off stream. I did say, like, I see on Solid Army play, and it's almost as though they don't plan to shoot. You've gone for an aggressive full send onto the side of 3 Crown Esports, but 3 Crown Esports are the ones spamming you nade. You're not doing the nading. You're not doing the. You're not taking any action, so to say, with respect to this push that you've just gone for. And 3 Crown Esports seeing that hesitation coming through from the side of on Solid Army, and they were able to get them down, because at the end of the day they had isolated someone, but unfortunately they were not just able to capitalize fully and completely on that one. Zone did move a little bit to that south east, but right now it does look like Dream Team is getting competed or contested really on the bridge.
I mean, this would be a very interesting engagement here, because Dark are in a very formidable position right now, but it's going to be a hard one to crack through, as Storm has given away his position. The grenades will start to fly as well, and Lazy has been spotted as well. Frostino picks out, but Sad's grenade finally does get the job done. Devil as well will follow suit. And Dream Team again buckling under pressure. Lazy all by his lonesome on the far end, but he's too far out. There's only so much he can do from that distance. Abubakar playing off a little bit closer, turn his back to the opposition and gets punished immediately. And Lazy will try again. Oh, what a spray that was.
What a spray there, Lazy. And that is something that I said yesterday. Like, it's something I would like to do as a player. Just go burst for burst. Most still sabi shoot pass. But anyway, I guess that is the question here between Ecstasy and Afro Esports. As we do see the trade of shots back and forth, it's going to be Danny Brown to get that first knock onto the side of Afro Esports, or maybe even the second knock, to be honest, as we're trying to see, or as we're seeing Afro Esports now down to the final 2 members to hold on the forts. 10-11. Getting into those buggies, trying to see if they can go for that full send. It's only a matter of time, and we want to see the attitude that Afro Esports is bringing to this. They've activated their JP card. It's not looking as though they want the fight, but it looks like Bergo is able to go down for a chase. One more player falls. but Afro Esports would have one player to survive for them. Say at all, nine bad pass.
You know, at all, Aiba pass is right. Afro Esports under pressure right now. 3 bodies caught, and there's only 1 player left. So far, they've got 17 points. You know, added to what they had before. Danny Brown panning. Oh no. Yeah, we already know that's going into the montage. We already know that's going into the montage for sure. But then Danny Brown is he in a situation where he can be making montages though? Is that where we're at right now?
Well,
It looks like Black Mamba will not be taking their eyes off the guys from Arab T though. These are two teams that do have similar play styles from what we saw. And Jim Rat, oh wow, Jim Rat flexing those muscles and dropping those dumbbells on the opposition one time. Arab T in trouble. They had no idea that Jim Rat was going to cook that way unless they wouldn't have driven so close. And great, not feeling too great. That grenade was perfectly launched, and Devil will send him back to hell immediately with that beautiful S685.
That's a good one.
Stay locked in.
Good one, but a little too far.
He can't seem to get the drop done. And a good trade-off. Can he get the flush? Mando. He can apply some more of that pressure, though. And that grenade just over the top. They will go to grenade for grenade. And that one is perfectly launched. Mando surely has to keep the rest of the team at bay. Their ADK still knocked away. Will not be getting picked up. Even farther. Just over the top. It's not enough. It's not enough. Storm has creeped in from behind, and surely that is the good night for Athlete Game. They put up a fight, but they were outnumbered and outplayed by Dream Team. Now, this is much better from Dream Team. 6 eliminations. This is the Dream Team that I know is very, very capable of getting straight into the finals.
They have completely dominated the breach here, and it does look like they have 2 more teams to deal with respect to that breach, but we're about to get the zone to move. Again, I do predict an Eastern shift, and there we go. Definitely does go down straight up to Novo Rep Nonye. But now I'm trying to see, Dream Team, do they wait around? Because there's still Black Mamba and the side there of RT Sports who are still finishing business on the other side of the bridge. And it does look like RT Sports suffering a huge loss here. They do have Rodo down, but the revive will be looking to come through. But on the eastern side of things is where we have other teams like the side of 14th Gaming and 1011 Ecstasy. It does look like 14th Gaming are trying to pull off a pre-breach camp, and we'll see how well that's going to work for them. They're no longer in the circle, so they would have to eventually move.
Yeah, they will have to move all the way out into that southeastern side. And you did make a very accurate prediction of how that zone was going to move. I mean, now it's going to put a lot of these teams into a very difficult position. You know, the likes of Black Mamba and Arab T, they are locking and loading over to that southwestern side. It's going to be a very interesting game for them. Whoever makes it out of there alive, you can see Egungun is not stopping. Black, unfortunately, will be swept away. And Black Mamba will lose yet another body. Ooh. You got to respect that. Shooting underneath, you gotta respect it. Creed peeks out to the right-hand side. That's a good grenade. Egungun is off on the back end as well. And Jimrat has to hold on. There's a potential 2 versus 1 playing off this left-hand side. If Black Mamba have to do something about it, they have to do something about it right now. Grenade keeps getting charged up. Ooh, that was very close. Way too close. That's a very good nade. Creed, can he get his numbers up? Can he get it up? Oh, that was very close. He did it. He actually did it. He got his HP back up, but there's more to be done. T-Bag now, the next one to follow suit. Jimrad already knows he's 1 HP. He's going for it. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He doesn't commit. He doesn't commit. He's gonna peek out again. Jimrat is all by himself now. Pays into the right. He gets the first drop. Oh, 2 for 2. Jimrat is cooking. Hey, go over to the right-hand side. Clutch! Clutch! Black Mamba reborn. Jim Rat is him. The dumbbells drop on the ground. Egungun had no chance. Jim Rat bent over and finished all over him.
Yesterday, we saw him not complete a 1v4 on Neon Rising. And today, he said, I shall not pass on such opportunity anymore. 4 eliminations to the backpack for the side there of Jimrat from Black Mamba, and I'm pretty sure they'll be happy. I did mention it. That is one of the players who did show that they know how to play yesterday, and today they have shown it again. I'm not gonna lie, I have to say this again to RFT Esports. This is the second time, matter of fact, third time from yesterday to today that you have the numbers advantage in a fight and you completely throw it. Can we award them? Can we give them the award now? Because this was a throw in my books. Like, that was a 3v2, and somehow, matter of fact, a 3v1, and they still managed to throw that one to the side of Black Mamba. That is just yeah, he's becoming a habit now at
yeah,
Team Sports.
yeah. It's becoming a very bad habit. You know, I expected a whole lot more from them, given the position they had. And it looks like 3Crown Esports will be following in the same footsteps now. They are getting torn to shreds by Tribe. The Tribe are just playing as two. And that's going to be a very, you see, it's all about positioning at this point. You know, tribe warriors, they know this, they know exactly how to position themselves. 14 Gaming, again, under some serious pressure. They are under some serious pressure, and Ecstasy are not going to let this one slide away. Danny Brown also makes the move. He advances himself a little bit closer there, but Bego is the one that's going to try to put the nail in the coffin from the backside as well. But very good grenade, cuts his HP all the way down to half. Uguay tries again to pop over, but unfortunately, doesn't connect. The grenades are missing. They're flying over to the side, but Bego is gonna pick it up, but immediately gets dropped away by Uguay. 98k all by his lonesome, but Danny Brown continues to mount the pressure, and that will be the job done. 14 Gaming once again crowns, they fall short.
I'm trying to understand what I've just witnessed, because we had that last player just holding down the stun grenade. Maybe he did lag out. That's the only excuse that I would take. But it looks like the Gym Rat has found his way to the side of Dream Team, as they would lose the last player who they left in charge of Bridge Affairs in Lazy. That is going to be a GG well played to that guy there. But anyway, Zone does move towards the eastern side again. 3Crown Esports, I can understand why they would have gone for that swim rotation. What do we call that? Yeah, whatever. We'd workshop it. But going to swim to cross the bridge did not work out well. To make it to the island did not quite work out well for them, as Tribe Warriors would use them to get their first 3 eliminations of the day. But game continues. We have 8 teams left to make it to that military island, and it looks like 4 portions are handing the damage over to the side of 10-11 Ecstasy, as Amar is going to fall as well. They did lose Bego early on. Now Danny Brown will be the last player to hold down the fort, but these angles from Peachy a little too strong for the side of 10-11 Ecstasy, not to force him to go for it.
Danny Brown is going to have to think long and hard about what he is going to do here. But it is going to be a very, very tricky position again, trying to stay locked in. But 4 portions have the bridge under lock and key. I do not see how Danny Brown is going to survive this ordeal right now. But fortunately for him, Jim Rat is also making a play just underneath the bridge. And that would give 4 portion an opportunity to think twice. But Danny Brown is still under siege, still under fire, as he tries to make his way over to the other side of the bridge. But I think that is going to be Lala on the other end of that call, trying to dart him back into the lobby. And they are taking more and more hits. Clarity had to be very, very sure about his next move there, because that was very dangerous. Amar finally succumbs to his injuries. And 4 portion are going to think about that one long and hard again. But they will reposition themselves. They did lose Peachy in that exchange. 7 eliminations to the good. Ecstasy will go out in 8th. But Neon Rising playing as 2. They've lost more steez. They've lost more pain. What do you think happened? I mean, they had everything going for them, but did they lose focus?
Well, I mean, for them, it wasn't really a case of losing focus. They did get caught up on rotation there, which I can understand. There were a lot of teams on that military island early on in the game, and it did look like whenever they tried to start their rotation, they did get caught on it, getting 2 players taken out there. But anyway, Tribe Warriors, we saw them defend the spot very, very beautifully yesterday, and it looks like they might be having that in mind again. But the trade has been initiated as Finger falls. It's just 2 players here for the side of Tribe Warriors, and there is third party, which is very, very active. And Grope. P3? Now, y'all niggas need to relax with the names, bro. But anyway, looks like
no.
Vanguard is going to spot it. Oh, collect Joe. Back to the lobby.
22k
Vanguard
boogie.
will maintain the defense. Vanguard will maintain
That was
that
a solid
defense and
grenade.
stay on their tracks. Oh man, Black Panther. Sorry, I keep calling him Black Panther. Black Mamba still alive here. 9 eliminations with 6 going to Gym Rat, and it does look like these two players are standing their ground. This is ideal. These are things that I love to see. I don't think Black Mamba were in the top 6 as of last week. Where they didn't even make it here.
Yeah, I mean, this MPL is always going to give you some every single time, man. It's always going to give you some every single time. I can't even be mad, at the turnout. But I would say that right now it's anybody's game. We only have Vanguard. Vanguard Esports right now is the only team with 4 players up, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody else is fighting for scraps to see if they can do something around this. But again, we did see a lot of teams finally making and breaking their way into the circle. You can see Black Mamba still holding on from that northern side. They're not making too much of a move, and the play zone has favored that decision, and looks like Vanguard is still going to look very, very strong inside of the circle, and I think they are going to hold that area at least for the longest time. But right now, Black Mamba, they have fought and they have earned this position that they currently have, just on top of the hillside, and I think that puts them in a very, very unique perspective to go even further down of this game.
I'm looking at it and I have a feeling Black Mamba might be able to turn this game around. That position they're holding is a very strong one, to be honest. They can see so much of what is going on in Novo there, and they can choose to play spoiler or third party onto the side of any team as they wish. And the odds of them getting crashed is quite low. And this is where I'm trying to see let me not say attitude before they say I'm throwing the word around too much. But I'm trying to see what Vanguard is going to do here. They're currently seated with 2 eliminations. They're seated almost dead center in the circle. Dream Team is trying to make their way in. And this is going to be very scrappy fights, because if there's one thing we know about PUBG Mobile, once the fight tosses you into some sort of city, it starts to get very, very, very hot. Code's going to get one player down there from Dream Team, eliminating the devil from the game, purifying the lands of Erangel.
And that is a very good play from Vanguard. They are looking very comfortable as they get more and more eliminations, because that's really where, the confidence starts to stem from. The more teams you eliminate, the easier it feels. It's like, the glove starts to fit, the energy level starts to rise, the more eliminations you get going forward. But right now, Vanguard, they need to occupy more space in the zone, because they do have Crazy Weirdos just creeping up. And I don't think they've paid attention to Crazy Weirdos just yet. They are in a 2-1 split. There's a big chance that they could be a thorn in their side. Sisu is creeping up from that western side. Again, there's a big chance that that can change. I feel Vanguard are a little bit too stacked in, a little bit too close together. I feel it would be better for them to, gather as much intel on every opposition as possible. 22K Boogie with a beautiful spray right through the corner there. We'll get the drop on. I believe that was sad that they get knocked away. Dream Team could be in some serious trouble here. Storm, the last one left, and the pickups are coming through. Black Mamba still enjoying that decision they have made. The play zone has not moved too crazy. And speak of the devil, Wicked's Molotov cocktail does connect. Too Cold is burning up. And now, Crazy Weirdos, ladies and gentlemen, may have just found a way to be the thorn in the side of Vanguard Esports.
And this is where I'd have expected to see a full send coming through from the side of Crazy Weirdos. You already have that first knock. You can either choose to capitalize on that one, or you can choose to go for a full send. And it looks like Neon Rising would be playing spoiler for the side of Crazy Weirdos. They would lose one from the third party on the side. K not quite on the same momentum or wavelength as the rest of his team. Wicked is down. And now Sisu, you're going to have to hold down the force, but Dream Team now suffering the brunt as they face third-party action from the side of Black Mamba. I did call it out, like they have such a crazy position that they could spoil things for all of these teams that are currently in here, and Dream Team will be the first to feel the heat as Grenade starts getting rained over to his position. He's trying to see if he can go for that revive, but I don't think the side of Black Mamba want that to happen. To continue to spam those grenades, but here comes the blue. Everyone has to move. Dream Team move. Crazy Weirdos move, but Crazy Weirdos down by 1. Vanguard needs to get their move on, as we can see Too Cold scavenging, running, trying to make it into the zone. This is not the blue zone that is nice. This is not Papa Blue that likes to play games, as Dream Team eventually go out. 2 beautiful grenades from the side of Black Mamba. And this is where Black Mamba really just have to watch everyone. They are not being Mambas right now. They are being Hawks. They'll be watching over everyone, trying to take them out.
Yeah, absolutely trying to eliminate all the opposition that they have, and they are making perfect use of the utilities there. And Monkey will stop, drop, and roll and manages to survive with a little over zero point 0.7 HP. But Vanguard somehow crowns. They have kept all of their players alive, and artists will trade one for the other. Jimrat finally getting dropped off, and that's going to be good night. Vanguard Esports one step closer to a chicken dinner. It's a 4 versus 2. They cannot allow Black Mamba to reign on their parade right now, but everything looks like it will be working in their favor if Black Mamba can find a way through here. First spray over to the top hand side. Artist has already made a move, and immediately Black Mamba losing one after the other. Jimrat 1 HP. Surely he cannot do it all the way from there, but he does get stopped in his tracks. Vanguard Esports chicken dinner.
I think this is the first time I'm seeing one team actually take the bonus points for winning the game with a full squad. And you did mention that Vanguard Esports is one of those teams who can still snatch a spot in that top 6. And with this attitude going into the first game, it looks like they've got their eyes fixed on one thing, and it is those grand finals. First chicken dinner of the day going over to Vanguard Esports, and I believe they got themselves about 10 elimination points, if not more, to cushion that one till the end. What a way to play the game, Chris. What a way.
Yeah, absolutely. They were next level. Monkey with the final blow. Monkey with the final blow. There we saw. I think they got a total of 7-8 eliminations, give or take, and that's a very very big way to start. Plus the bonus that comes with finishing as 4, not losing anyone. I mean, I think that was part of the mindset. You know, I started to see the way they were positioning themselves. They were really trying not to have anyone lost, and I think it even got much more trickier as the zone was forcing them, you know, outside. But they had already put out some smokes just to shield their vision and shield Black Mamba, because Black Mamba was the biggest threat to all of those teams because of the high ground position that they had. But unfortunately, you know, the numbers usually just trump position in, you know, some of these cases.
Yeah, and that's where it starts to get sad for teams, and this is why we start to emphasize, you know, trying to keep your entire squad alive, because really with a full squad there is so much more that you could do with such position that this idea of Black Mambas were holding. But unfortunately, they had gone through a whole lot of turns and turnbuls as they were trying to make it into the circle, and unfortunately had to go out head to head between Black Mamba and Vanguard. I can tell you, I feel like Jim Rat is the one carrying most of this damage. 2,000 damage. That's 2,097 damage that they have with 11 knocks and 11 eliminations. They did work for their elims, and there was nothing like stealing eliminations. You'd love to see that one coming through from Black Mamba.
Yeah, absolutely. They were next level. Vanguard, on the other hand, 1,200 in damage, 27 minutes on the clock. I mean, they were doing the most. They actually just, you know, climb over because of the chicken dinner. It's roughly the same amount of points, just by a little 1 point difference between the two of them. But you could tell Black Mamba heavily carried by Jimrat's amazing performance. We saw the 1v3 against Arab T. That was surely highlight material, and that one is going to go in the montage for sure. They're probably going to add our voices to the clip. But regardless, Black Mamba next level performance. Donk being Jimrat for sure. I think they just need to fix the naming in production. I think this is Jimrat and they need to include his GFX. But 8 eliminations, 1,500. I'll just call it 1,500 in damage points, man. Wow. Yep. And they got like what, 2,100 or so,
2,000.
or 20?
2,009. Yeah,
2,000
basically. Like,
yeah, just 20. Bro, that's
doing
more
this
than
much damage.
70%.
Coming in from just one player, really, you know, 8 elimination, 9 knocks out of 11, you know, 736 heal. Did get knocked a bit, but you know, once again, you look at the top players and you can just tell what happened in the game, with the only outlier being Ecstasy. They didn't really survive to the end, but once again, we did see Black Mamba get there. 2 players doing so much damage. Monkey from the side of Vanguard active, able to get 3 eliminations for themselves. Tribe Warrior surviving with that last player there, trying to see if he can hold on the 4th, but he's not quite able to do that. And I really hope to see Tribe Warriors coming with a full squad, because you couldn't have had such good games yesterday and then come in today with only 2 man. Please lock in and fix up. I'd like to see a full squad in the second game.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to see them play with, more players in the next game. That would shine a light on things. But as it stands, Vanguard did finish this game with 4 players up, so that has give them a little bit of an extra bonus point going for themselves. But they did finish with 18 points, 8 eliminations, and that chicken dinner. Black Mamba tearing through with 11 eliminations as well and finishing in second place. Dream Team finally finding their rhythm with 11 points to the good. That adds to the tally of what they have gathered so far. Ecstasy also putting in work, 8 points, but in fourth, 4 portions as well, starting not too bad. 6 points to the good. Tribe Warriors and Crazy Warriors sharing 5 apiece. 3 Crown Esports in 8th place with 4. Neon Rising as well sharing 4 points. Dark Knight with 3. Arab T in 11th with 2. Unsolid Army and Afro Esports 1 apiece. No Rivals, Athlete Game, and 14th Gaming yet again. No points secured. This is not the way things were supposed to go for these teams coming into this last day of Super Weekend.
And I find myself asking again, and I find myself calling them out again. 14th Gaming, where is your head at? I mean, Dream Team is here racking up 11 points per game now because that's the amount of points they grabbed yesterday before things ended. And now we can already see them grabbing even 11 more points again. This is where it starts to get, tough. This is where you start to wonder what has happened to your spot in that top 6. Black Mamba having Jim Rad as number 1 player there, 21 eliminations. Finger following from yesterday. We didn't see him he wasn't given the chance to play at all in this first round of game, getting taken out early, but nothing too much changing. Amar also finds his way into that top 5 there with 10 eliminations. Everything else still changing, just the introduction of 2 more players or 2 new players into the overall top players of the Super Weekend, and the leaderboards now starting to move. Dream Team just on 33 points, but you're still seeing that huge difference with respect to points coming in through from that top 5 and every other person in the lobby. 14th Gaming, you need to start doing better. You need to start moving up the top of the leaderboard, else you're losing that spot.
Yeah, they really might be losing that spot. I mean, but right now, 14th Gaming, it's kind of very interesting to see, how far they've come, because right now they're really, really being carried by week 1's performance. But as it stands, Black Mamba has put a dent in that, because Black Mamba right now is potentially in the top 6. They didn't have the greatest week 1, but they didn't have the worst one either. So this is equally the same thing. The only team that has been I would say consistent over both weeks is 3 Crown Esports. Everybody else is up for grabs. And I want to see, a shocker. I want to see something different. If Black Mamba actually makes the finals from here, it would be very impressive because of how, I would call it how average they performed in the first Super Weekend and the doubts that came into them, playing today. But we've seen Jim Rat. We saw his performance yesterday was good. We've seen it today. He is him. Is he the one that is going to just drag Black Mamba just over the line into the finals? Do you think he's the one to do it? Do you think he's their Jesus Christ?
Well, questions will be asked and the answers will be found in the next couple of games, so do not go anywhere, as we'll be right back after this break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NPL Season 8. I told you it was going to be a short break, and it doesn't get any shorter than that. Welcome back. Still got Priest here with me. We're back. We're locked in and loaded. We're about to get into the map here of Miramar. We're wasting no time as we get on into the map. Our playing path not looking too bad, but Priest, how are you feeling about Miramar?
I mean, Miramar, the desert, the vibe is going to be elite for sure. Those teams that are locked in, we're going to see for ourselves. We saw an amazing performance from Vanguard Esports. I really want them to do more of the same. I really, really want them to do more of the same. I want to see a team that is outside of the top six, right now, or outside of the top five, just do something. Vanguard Esports just showed us that it is possible. They've given everybody hope that there's more to life than just sitting idly by and allowing another team to spam you nades. If you're making a push, push. On Solid Army, I'm talking to you. If I wasn't clear enough with that, that analogy, because Three Crown Esports, they pulled up on them and they dealt them damage, and that was the only points that Three Crown got from that last game. Those were the only points they secured. It was the elimination of Unsolid Army. So again, we want to see how well these teams can actually adjust, because you can see the playing path, you can see the play zone already. It's already giving teams a narrative. Do you want to do something different? It's 2 games left after this. Now is the time to go hard or go home.
Definitely go hard or go home is what we're preaching here. Zone does look to be on that western side, a little bit in the center. I'd like to see people play the heels there off Picado a whole lot. But anyway, everyone does seem to be dropping. We got a little bit of a hot drop yesterday in the map, or we're in the side there of San Martin. Looking forward to seeing if that is going to be happening again today. But other than that, it does look like everyone else being relatively respectful this time, as we can see everyone in their preferred drop locations.
Well, I want to see, because right now the play zone is quite favorable to those teams that do love to play out from the south. I think the likes of 14th Gaming, this could be where they thrive. They're much stronger in Miramar than the average team. But again, Ecstasy is also going to enjoy this because they have most of the north to play with. Only Afro Esports will be a direct threat to their position. Athlete Game as well, a little bit too far off towards the north, and I think there's a big chance that they will lock horns with Unsullied Army. I think that's potential for that to happen. Neon Rising as well, still outside the zone. I think most of the teams that are outside of the zone right now are going to have a really, really hard time making those rotations into the circle. I think that is what is going to be a deciding factor to who is going to come out on top here, because it looks like Crazy Weirdos and Black Mamba have started to lock horns over to that eastern side.
Yeah, and this is where it starts to get crazy, really. I'd like to see how Athlete Gaming approaches this one. I'd expect to see them go for a wide, maybe western rotates to try to make it into the circle. Because, I mean, if you're knowing the likes of 3 Crown and 1011 Ecstasy are going to be, well, in water treatment and La Bendita, you know that eastern side is a little cancelled out, even if you want to make your rotations late. We know these teams to be teams that like to keep the edge of the circle. So you might want to look to get into that circle from other other angles. But yeah, nonetheless, it's still crazy where they was able to grab at least one revive back up against the side there of Black Mamba.
Well, I want to see. They have traded one for the other, and the Crazy Weirdos are yet to be eliminated here. They now have they don't have the numbers advantage. It is a 3 versus 3, but they are more inclined to hold off here, but they did have a very good game in the last game, and Hamoud gets a drop on Teabag, and that's going to be a very hard drop as well. They can't seem to find a way through. It's all about the shotguns now. Can K find an angle here? Because DIC is trying to hold on and find an angle and keep his teammates all the way back up, but they have to capitalize here. Crazy Weirdos, they cannot allow for the reset. They have to make the advance. They have to make the push. Good sprays coming over to the other side. The onslaught coming through as well. Hamoud trying to force him out into the open, but he will take the bait, and Professor will take him back to class. But K's there, goes for the punch finish, and DIC will not survive as well. Hamoud, and somehow Black Mamba may just be offering 10 points to Crazy Weirdos. Because don't forget, okay, no, they're not. They're
They didn't win.
But that was very,
Come
because
on.
that was very close. Mahmoud with the jump shot, with the Tommy gun, 4 points. Crazy weirdos stepping up. Now this is what I wanted to see, crowds. This is what
That is
I
a
wanted to see.
exactly what we want to see, man. The side of crazy weirdos. It's like, where have you kept this? You can take a fight like this and you chose to hide it for a whole ass day. Like, that's not how you play. This is not the time for you to now start locking. Well, I mean, maybe it is the time to lock in, but see if you can actually pull off a miracle really with this game. But nonetheless, Black Mamba back and out into the lobby. That would also be a throw, as we can see them already getting locked in horns with this idea of RFT esports for who throws the most. But anyway, rotations would continue. Movements would also continue as we're starting to see those rotations come through. Vanguard Esports going all the way for that Patona drop. Gonna be, and I would say maybe that was done with respect to not just being the one to give away 10 points to someone by going to a more famous place. But nonetheless, it is still one way to play the game, and I'd like to see how they advance with the rotation from here on out.
Well, it's all about the rotations, as we all know. But right now, Vanguard Esports, I think they are one of the better teams when it comes to rotations. I think I would give that to them. I think they're a little better at positioning, but I still think it lies with how far away the zone is from them. I think they are very good because there's some teams that I would say are good at rotations when the zone is not that far away from them, or where the play zone is not too far away from them. I think maybe I would say maybe 600, 700, 800 meters. Some teams have they have better positional awareness when it comes to zones that are that far away. And then you have teams that can do 1,500 meters. They can make their way around the zone and get themselves into a very, 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 very fruitful position and utilize that going forward. But again, it still ties into the mentality of the team, crowds. If you are one of those teams that likes to, keep your players up into the final third, you're not trying to fire early, you're not trying to rack up points early. This stage will force you to do that. It will force you to do that. You have to rack up those points. At least you have to look out for Vanguard Esports right now. That is the team you need to eliminate. You need the bonus points. You need to take it away from Vanguard Esports. They have it on their head right now. And Vanguard Esports have another opportunity to win a back-to-back, to get themselves additional, points, additional bonus points. That would be a big, big move for Vanguard Esports if they can do something along those lines, because that's the kind of thing I want to see. Vanguard Esports pulling a back-to-back. Come on now.
Definitely back-to-back will toss them into that top six, or will give them even more chances with that top six. And this is something that I want to see, really. If there's one thing that I like to look out for, is to see teams play to the strength of the structure or the format. And in situations where you have the opportunity to get yourself bonus points, definitely you would want to fight for that. I think the only other team that I've seen really play to the format will be the side there of 3 Crown Esports, because I saw them, pull off crazy numbers last week as well. But man, Vanguard Esports, you got it in you, and we'll see about that one. Crazy Warriors taking their time in that blue zone. Same thing can be said about on Solid Army, as we're starting to see the first rotations come through.
The first set of rotations on display here. Arab T in a good spot, not playing it slow and steady, trying to win the race here, but they need a whole lot to do, because this is one of those teams that did not make Super Weekend 1, and in Super Weekend 2 they're not cooking like that. 20 points, come on. You can do way better. You can do so much better. I know that RFT can do so much better, but the way it's looking, it's survival weekend for you, dog. The way it's looking,
It gets me asking.
It
really gets me asking questions, man. It really gets me asking questions for this idea of RFT esports, because I've not been in the comp scene for a while. I shouldn't throw this out there, but I've not seen RFT Sports. Last thing I heard about RFT Sports is they're one of the teams that made it through the first rounds of the PMCO, whatever the last PUBG Mobile tournament was. So I guess I had high expectations for them coming into this weekend. Like, okay, let me see what RFT Sports really is going to show. And but here we are seeing them competing for or contesting for best in throwing awards. It's not. Is this the same squad that did it, or are there, discrepancies or changes?
I mean, there's a lot of questions, regarding most of these teams that I think the survival stage will give us the answers to. Because for the most part, if we're talking about a team like like Dark Knights right now, this is a team that has potential to do something special, but they keep playing as three, all those kind of things. And look like athlete game as well, getting caught on rotation. This is a team that's still figuring things out. You can tell with the way they make their rotations, they are still figuring things out. Athlete game, and I remember like watching athlete game in the playoffs. They were very, very good in transition, but then the playoffs was, the difficulty in playing in the playoffs was not that crazy, but they fared very, very well against the other teams in the playoff when it came to putting themselves in very, very good positions and getting themselves the most out of the positions that they got. Especially even in Miramar, they were very good. But now, they're starting to struggle. The quality of the participating teams has significantly improved, and they're still trying to find their way around. But Crowns, now the question I want to pose to you though is, you're a brand new team, you're in the MPL for the first time. This is the first time you are playing a competition like this. There's some of these teams that have, a lot of experience, more experience than you, but you somehow actually find yourself in a scenario where you've qualified, through the playoffs. You've made it to the first Super Weekend, you made it to the second Super Weekend, but now, what do you do next? What do you do next? How do you adapt to being thrown into the relatively deep end of the rip?
I think at this point it's gonna, for me, or well, I would say it's a thing of adaptation, And if you've gone through such rigorous, activities, say you've gone through the playoffs, you've come to first Super Weekend, second Super Weekend, if you by chance make it into the finals, or if you have to go on the rival stage, I believe these are chances for you to get even more flexible with, how you play against new teams, how you play in a new lobby. So, I'd like to see that. Flexibility is what I would say to work on if you're a new team that is, making it through all of this. And well, you're not just going to come and play very passive and say that is you being flexible or you being watchful about the lobby. In situations like this, you want to make sure that you're pushing your all, you're giving it your all really, and flexing your individual prowess here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're really right about that one, because it really is about flexing your individual prowess. I think you just have to take the game by the scruff of the neck and do something with it. And it looks like Danny Brown is going to be taking that advice as he pushes forward here. But Dream Team, getting chased down. You never think you'd see this, but you only see it in the Super Weekend. Dream Team getting chased down. Another drop into the other side, and that is going to be Good Night. Ecstasy will not leave any stone unturned. 6 eliminations, and they are coming for that number one spot that Three Crown Esports are currently sitting on. Speaking of Three Crown Esports, they looked untouchable with the way they ended the game yesterday, but right now they are very, very touchable, Crowns.
Yep, looking like the case. We did see them play very well in all games yesterday, to be honest. But right now, we're seeing them not do that well. At least first game of the day did not quite dictate that to us. 10-11 clearing the side there of Dream Team. That was a very quick wipe, can't lie. We just saw them going in for the push. These are situations where the off angles do play out well for you. They were able to get that first 2 knocks. And in case you guys were watching, after they got the 2 knocks of the guys that were outside, when they pushed the people in the building, they pushed together. There was nobody flanking. Please, please, please. I'll end it there.
Well, that was a very, very keen observation, and hopefully, most of the teams that are watching this will pick up on that and see what that means. But for the most part, Tribe Warriors are in full swing with 4 players in the cut. And now this is the Tribe Warriors that we know and love. But as it stands, take a look at the zone crowns. It sits quite nicely there. 4 portions, 14th gaming. And I talked about 14th gaming. This is the type of play zone they like. This is the type of terrain they like. This fits their narrative. It works the way it does. But now Tribe Warriors are just camped outside this little spot, more like a staging area to laser the bullets towards them, and they are flying it all the way over to the
Headshot.
top. And Mood has come out, and he has learned the hard way that there's ops outside. It is raining ops outside. 5.56s will drop on your head if you are not in the right position. But Finger will be staging around as well. And I think Tribe Warriors, again, this is one of those things we talk about, taking the initiative. Right now, Crazy Warriors are waiting to get.
Indeed they are, and we're starting to see the shots come through from the side of Tribe Warriors. They have one player group on the top angle, and he's just trying to see if he can lay down the shots down there. There's them from Crazy Warriors looking to try to rotate out of here, but it does look like running away will not be an option. These two last player left getting into that vehicle, trying to make it out desperately, but he's going to be driving in the sight lines of Finger there, and the shot's going to fly towards his position, but Sisu not giving up. Finally having to get out from that vehicle, but it's only a matter of time before you get spotted, and Tribe Warriors pattern themselves, get themselves eliminations to get things started. I'm not gonna lie, Tribe Warriors is one of those teams that I mentioned yesterday as well, being that team that, they are able to go without aggression. They're able to show me that they know how to fight. But once again, I challenged them yesterday to show me that they do know how to keep the full squad alive. Right now, they are doing that for the time being. We can already see them have 4 rotations up on board. No rivals trying to see if they can get a rotation through, but it looks like 4 portions stopping them from the attacks and they lose 1 player. Vanguard, on the other hand, able to make their way into the zone as well from the southern edge. They're putting in a little bit of third-party action, or maybe make that a backstab on the side of Dark Knights. But 4 portions hear those fights, and I don't think they want to today. Who are they taking shots from? Wow, everyone's taking shots from everyone, not gonna lie. But yeah, next year, no rivals. No rivals, definitely losing 1 player out on the rotation there. We'll try to say make that 2 players really, and we'll see how well they advance on this one as 4 portions. Also getting to those buggies, trying to push up to the top of the hill, looking for higher grounds as advantage. You'd love to see that one playing the center of the circle, playing it very correctly. With respect to rotations in the zone, Athlete Gaming still find themselves alive, even though they're still fighting with the side of Tribe Warriors. But I'm looking forward to seeing that engagement between Tribe Warriors and the side of Ecstasy, which might be happening real soon. But all of this action is happening on the northern side of the circle, as we can see Tribe Warriors finding their way in into that circle there. 10-11 Ecstasy just right in their vicinity. And that is a Mars vehicle being spotted there by Sock, and he's just waiting. Now they hear the fight between 10-11 right now. They're seeing that one happen. Amar currently getting shot at, almost getting out of that vehicle, and I do not know if he was uprooted successfully, but 10-11 Ecstasy still continue that fight with the side of Athlete Gaming. They've cleared Athlete Gaming, but now they have to deal with that third party coming through from the side there of Tribe Warriors. They will be able to play a gatekeep as Amar able to find a rock to call home. 10-11 Ecstasy now find themselves in a gatekeeping position. Someone from Tribe Warriors has gone for a very wide flank, and that looks to be working out well for them. But Finger will get the first knock. The initiative is there, but there is a trade. Group trying to see if he can form in from the side. As we see that off angle now coming in clutch as Touch, able to find Bego to fall. Amar still alive for the side here of 10-11 Ecstasy, but there's only so much he can do. There's 2 players left. That off angle is not very nice on the side of 10-11 Ecstasy. They have to fall back. 2 players to revive there for Amar, and he does look to be forming up here. Tribe Warriors going to have to take that revive up, which is one of the reasons why they're slow on this push. And it looks like 10-11 Ecstasy will be able to grab at least 1 revive, but maybe Tribe Warriors can capitalize on this. They need to get into the circle. Right now, they're still drinking that blue zone. Both revives will come through. And now another off angle has to be found. Bego falls once more as he realizes that there isn't too much movement that he can do. The tags have been dropped. And now Tribe Warriors trying to see if they can make it into the circle. That is enough distraction that they've gotten. They still have a full squad alive. So I'm going to give my props to both teams. But now both teams need to get into that circle, or well, Tribe Warriors themselves need to get into the circle. It doesn't look like they really want to fight. At least want to take this engagement. It's going to look very messy. 30 seconds on the clock. I would not fault them for making this rotation. But anyway, zone does move again towards that southern edge. As we're seeing inside here, 4 portions still holding on that northern edge of the circle. Vanguard still alive in this one. We're seeing every other team trying to make it in on Solid Army, finding themselves in a little bit of a pinch on that northwestern side. But on the east, we've got 3 Crown Esports going head to head and toe to toe with the side of Neon Rising.
And we are going to keep our eyes on Neon Rising for sure. because this is going to be one of those interesting battles. Looks like the 3 Crown Esports will get the drop on them with good rotation coming through as well, but they will trade off. And that is why it is going to be very difficult for 3 Crown Esports to keep this entire position to themselves without having to break a sweat. I think looking very, very interesting here. First drop over to the other side. Merrick is hoping going to get picked up, but Cloud will not be so lucky. Nexus gets caught out again. More Nax, unfortunately, is going to be knocked away. Nexus will trade off over to that hillside position, but Neon Rising are creeping up slowly but surely. But take a look at that. They are caught between a rock and a hard place, and the grenades will follow suit, and they might be turning out into the other side. And 3 Crown Esports will have to really hard for this one. Quilla is going to be on the receiving end of that shot, and he will be getting backed all the way in with Merrick. 3 Crown Esports, they can only fight for what they can visualize is a very, very tough area right now. But 3 Crown Esports, it was a very hard nut for them to crack, and Neon Rising will come out on top. More Steez as well in the vicinity. Quilla gets caught out with a beautiful grenade on himself. Yeah, I think Merrick is not going to survive out there, Crowns. I think 3 Crown Esports may have just lost their touch in this one.
From what looked to be a fight where they were the ones in the zone to play gatekeepers, looks like the side of Neon Rising are able to overwhelm them with the numbers. They were not quite composed on that one. They were on the split, and they did get caught out on the split. That's a good play coming in through from Neon Rising. You can see them just go for an isolating push over there, but they did also lose players in this engagement, with both teams suffering huge casualties coming out of this fight.
All eyes on this fight we've seen here, because Ecstasy and 4 portions. This is a very interesting one, and that's a very good. Oh, beautifully launched grenade from Amar, but immediately had no sight lines on the other side, and they will be overwhelmed by Peachy over to the corner there. 3 bodies caught in the air, but unfortunately they got overestimated. 4 portions standing on business. 7 eliminations to the good, and it is going to be Ecstasy that will be dispatched this time, but not without putting 10 bodies back into the lobby. That is a big move from Ecstasy. That puts them into a very, very comfortable spot within that top 3 position, and our Tribe and Neon Rising will have to play catch up going further. But Crown, so far with what you've seen, it's anybody's game going forward. Again, what do you realize once again, from the amount of teams and players that's left? What do you realize once again?
Oh, first thing I'm realizing is the fact that Vanguard is still alive. I love to see that one. Currently down in the south, seated in the center of the circle. Other than that, we're currently in zone 5. We have how many teams left? 8 teams left. I would let it slide. It's the map of Miramar. Everyone does look to be quite scattered across the map, but it's looking like a city finish. But once again, it's one of those city finishes where I'm like, that zone might actually still go to that northwestern side. So please do not really commit to that. Yep, exactly. Please do not really commit towards that circle. And now we're seeing most of the city being chunked out of the zone, and everyone else now needs to move. More Steez, we saw him try to play as that aggressive solo yesterday. It did not quite work out well for him. Question is, would he be able to do it again today? He's got more chicks on the side, and would they be able to hold down the forts? That is the question, as everyone finds themselves on the edge of the new circle.
Yeah, the new circle is trying to put most of these teams into very, very awkward positions. You saw the shift a little bit more central, and Vanguard still very much comfortable in that new setup. Neon Rising will have to make an advance, and they will have to make a play very quickly. 3 Crown Esports on the other side as well, trying to break away into the zone. Afro Esports also having the similar ideas, and they are all trying to play idea ball here, because Merrick has pulled up to the scene, and they will try to close this out with quickness. The Dark Knights do not want a piece of this. They will be trying to circle back, and they will be getting dropped off one after the other. But Neon Rising on the other side, unfortunately, will not be so lucky. More chicks be sent back into the lobby by Egungun, and RT will be the one to sweep him through. And Egungun will use his powers of the Masquerade to masquerade his position and turn things around. And that is Arab T standing on business as well. I think they are going to be playing as 2 going forward. It's going to be a hard rotation to make, but I think it's still going to be very feasible. But Vanguard, again, not 77, getting uprooted with a Scar L, and Cold will go for the flush. And that is going to be another one that will bite the dust for Dark Knights. Again, Crowns, the numbers advantage, it plays a very, very vital role. And I think Vanguard Esports are doing the exact same thing that they did in the previous game. Egungun is on fire right now. Merrick will be his latest victim. I believe Quilla is still very much alive here, and he might be the one to see them through into the final third. But Arab T, what a game they are having right now. 6 eliminations, a potential for anything special. If they can eliminate Vanguard, that will give them a +10. But I don't see that happening with this position that they're currently in.
Let's hope like the side of Tribe Warriors are not looking to play spoiler. We did see Finger do something like that yesterday. Might he be doing that again today? We wonder. Quilla trying to activate the JP card as he's realizing that that position that he's holding might have to compromise a little bit. And here comes the third party there as Gungun from the side, able to get one of the players there from Vanguard. And Vanguard should go for one. They do not want to lose any players in this one. They did go for a flank, which is why they're finding themselves in this position. But I think right now, for Vanguard Esports, I think what you want to do is get a little bit of a rough idea as to what is going on in the circle, because I feel like they're at this point of the game where you can kind of tell where teams are and where there aren't teams. So you just want to make sure you're scouting out the other sides just to kind of see, okay, there's no one on this side, and then you can choose to focus on everyone who find themselves in the compounds and trying to make it out of the Chumasera buildings.
Yeah, exactly. Catch them out of the buildings. That would be the most ideal way to go things down. But unfortunately, Egungun will go for that finish. And Neo as well with a grenade just over the top. And it is an unfortunate turn of events there. But Vanguard Esports will not be getting that bonus. And there is a big chance that someone can snatch a bonus here, because Vanguard might be able to do something special. But it is going to take a lot of resources for them. Quilla is still running around in circles on that ground floor. Atarodo will fall to the play zone. There's trouble right now for Arab T. They will lose yet another. The play zone will claim the souls of Arab T, and they know now that it's curtains for them, and they will have to focus on those teams that are going to come out of the buildings, like Crown said, and that is the only way this works. Quilla is in the vicinity as well. What is going on? What kind of grenade was that? That could have spelled so much danger for Vanguard Esports right now. They've done everything right up until this point. Okay, they can't get the bonus for finishing as 4, but they can definitely get the back-to-back, and that is also a very good way to kick things off for today. That's another grenade that bites the dust, just a couple of inches wide. But now, Quilla is very capable. He's a big danger. He's a very, very, very unstable player, being by his lonesome, that he can be a big threat to the guys from Vanguard. They need to be very sure they are locked into that position and they can hold this building.
And I think Vanguard Esports have a little bit of an idea as to what the game is or what is happening in the game. As you can see, Monkey just trying to watch on the side to kind of figure out, what's going on. They know there is someone upstairs, and that is the first knock to come through. As this player, Daxinio, trying to see if he can find the knock, but he would not do that. And now Quilla starts to unleash his bullets. Tries to go for a little bit of a third party, but it's not going to be happening just right now, as Vanguard is still trying to grab their revive. Monkey knows that there is that last player from Tribe Warrior who's still trying to make it into the circle, but right now the revives does seem to be what is on the mind there of the side of Vanguard. Monkey falls, Quilla and Touch Me duo would be the one to seal the damage, and now Vanguard, whatever he do, the knock falls to the window. Quilla goes for the left flank, tries to see if he can find the knock, does get the knock down and dusted. The grenade would not connect, but another one flies on his head. Now he has to fight in a 1v2. Quilla, a player that we know is well capable. Cold, going to the floor. Quilla just trying to see if he can hold down the fort.
Quilla, can he hold down the fort though? DBS in hand, switches over to play from the left-hand side, but Vanguard, they smell blood in the water. They want to close this out. Quilla's trying his best not to give them his head, but the jump shot is failing. Doesn't connect. 22k Boogie, surely going for it now. The DBS, he will clutch. Goes for the second. Unfortunately, again, tied. And Quilla will clutch. 2 versus 1, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Bing, bang, boo, bo, big bang. Oh my God, the kind of thing I'm on you wouldn't understand. Quilla, I told you, he's dangerous. When you leave him alone, he is absolutely dangerous. And Vanguard Esports have the opportunity here to get a back-to-back. But what do? They give the 10 points to 3 Crown Esports. Come on, man. Come on, man.
it's painful at this point. Like if you're seeing my like if you could see my face, like I have this like my I'm so disappointed in all honesty. Because this is not the first we literally saw this. We trolled players. And I believe Vanguard members were trolling as well on that day. We trolled players from Neon Rising for pushing a solo from Afro Esports on his lonesome when they were a duo. You have the same situation here. It's a 2v1. Why are you pushing one by one in this world of DBS, bro? Like someone is throwing a Molotov, you're pushing. And now you're pushing as a two-man squad. Now you've gone and you've turned yourself into absolute clips. Like this is I'm not even gonna keep going, but man, 3 Crown Esports getting themselves a chicken dinner, man. 5 eliminations to go alongside it. Villa getting 4 and the chicken dinner to help them with 10 extra points. And you just know that 3 Crown Esports, they are soaring on the top of that leaderboard.
Well, that puts things into perspective. 3 Crown Esports, this will be a major boost to them. It was looking like they were gonna be, getting caught out early, but they've turned up and they've given themselves another gap on much more breathing room between themselves and the likes of Black Mamba and Ecstasy as well, and they've just put themselves in a very, very solid position going forward. But right now, 50 we did have another team that turned up. It was 4 portions. They got themselves 11 eliminations. Yes, low key, it went under the radar, but yeah, they were cooking. I think they were the ones that eliminated Ecstasy, and they still eliminated, I believe, one more team after that. But unfortunately for them, they just couldn't hack the final third because of where the zone was, and it forced them out into the open. But as it looks right now, they were on some serious timing, and it showed. 1600 in damage as opposed to 1100 from 3 Crown Esports. Again, 4 portions did stand on business, but take a look at that. It is going to be Peachy the MVP, ladies and gentlemen, for 4 portions.
I mean, Peachy is showing that he had the prowess against the side of 10-11 Ecstasy. 10-11 did go in for that push, but then we did see Peachy on that off angle, picking them up one after the other, getting himself 4 eliminations in the backpack, and ultimately the MVP for the game overall. 726 damage to go alongside 81 healing. You can tell that he did not do too much of damage receiving. But unfortunately, it does look like they had to go out relatively early. But with 10 eliminations, to make that 11, I think I'm still quite impressed. I'd like to see what the overall leaderboards look like with respect to, well, pretty much the match rankings look like with respect to these points that have been put up on board.
Yeah, big points on the board right there. But Egungun was on fire there. We saw him turn up in the final third for Arab T. He was on different levels of timing. Quilla was also in there. 4 eliminations to the good, but unfortunately just a couple of points shy of Peachy's front row seat. Amar and Z47 also in the cut for Ecstasy, as I think they did amass up to 10 eliminations, and they catapulted themselves into a very, very top draw position, and we saw how capable they looked going into that final game, into that final third of the map. But as it stands, 15 points, 12 and 12. Dark Knights again going under the radar. Crowns, they put themselves in a very nice spot. They got 12 points in total. Tribe Warriors, Ecstasy, but once again 14th Gaming and Dream Team Crowns all the way out of the top 10. What do you think is going on with these teams?
I do not know, bro. I sincerely do not know. I don't know if it's crumbling under pressure. I do not know if it is lack of proper preparation. I just do not know what I'm seeing. You did mention it that 14th Gaming had a very good position in the circle. We saw them hold a very good position in the 4th circle there. But then, now we're looking at them and, just 1 point that they were able to get from just the 1 elimination, going out even before placement points were, out. That's not... that was not the play that we expected to see. But anyway, overall top leaderboards, not too much changes coming in through. Everyone is still here, and this is what happens when we start to see some of those teams that were on the other side of the leaderboard start to perform, and the teams that are right on top not doing too well. So we're starting to see that little bit of an upset. If I was to be checking overall top players, we'll be looking at maybe 10 to 12 or something. Then we'll be seeing some new names. But that being said, overall leaderboards, 3 Crowns skyrocketing to the very top of the leaderboards. It does look like they might be on another 100 points run here, Priest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big opportunity for them to do it back to back. That's just to show everyone that, yeah, we are really the ones. We are really those guys. You know, three chicken dinners out of six. I mean, that's one chicken dinner in every two games. Next level performance from Three Crown Esports. But Tribe have put themselves in within touching distance as well. 65 points to the good. Black Mamba unfortunately didn't crack too much. They did get eliminated earlier on inside of this game. Ecstasy as well, they did do an amazing job putting themselves into the 60s, but unfortunately, they just couldn't outplay, what Black Mamba have already done consecutively between yesterday and today. Neon Rising as well, still trying to find their footing, but they're not out of touch just yet. Vanguard Esports, this could have been a game changer for them, but unfortunately, that they let that chicken dinner slip away from their hands. But hopefully, they will be able to do something special in the game coming up next.
And I'd like to see how well they're going to play this one, man. And looking at Vanguard Esports and Dream Team as we're going into the map here of Sandhawk, really, because I'd want to see a little bit of competition come through between both teams. Because for what is what, ideally, those two teams are the ones battling for that one spot that is ideally, or maybe two spots, really. One, actually, that is available on that top 10 or, well, top 6 of the overall leaderboards. But are they going to continue with the competition? We'll find out just after Sandhawk. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back after this break.
The match is about to start.
From PS12, now on the Monday, is ready to do that. Now the Warmison, Demo, against Hyper, they need to clear that hill, the boys in yellow, Hyper finds them, shuts them down, and 340, 10 more seconds through that door, the oil money team, are they going to make history? Very first land, very first win, 347, 348, now the contest, the boys in through, no way through, and they are going to hold it down. So S are your champions.
All right, active plaster is what we are here for as we're about to head into what seems to be one of the most chaotic maps of the PUBG Mobile franchise. It's not other but the map of the how big that map was, but the led of the unloaded. In fact, doesn't matter, but I'm looking forward to see Dream Team and Vanguard collab or well pretty much head to head in this game because like I know like both teams would realize like okay we're two teams that are fighting for this spot in um in that top six of the final. So are they going to be looking to take each other out a little bit of a sabotage? Looking forward to seeing that one.
I mean, yeah, I would love to see something like that. Something unexpected, something that nobody would think. But I was also expecting something like four portions. Landing in Painan. Because I saw that during the playoffs, I think, and I saw that during the league as well. So I'm glad I'm not seeing that again. Because yeah, somebody was gonna get their AWS beat because I saw that the first two times. Because I saw that first two times. We from what you're seeing on the screen, you know who that is. So they've learned and they've adapted, and that's good. That's a very good sign. Again, I don't know why three grand actually just split, but hopefully that translates into something right now. But as it stands, for the most part, Crowns, you can see most of the teams in the southern side. It's going to be a hard rotation to make, and once again, no rivals getting rivaled with bullets all over the corners there. And Mornax again. I mean, are you doing any
All right.
research? If you're landing with no rise, neon rising, are you doing research, dog? Because come on, man, neon rising this early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know how to
Hmm.
explain it. Like neon rising this early. Well, Mash will get one back, and that will be I think, another point. Liquid Metal had no idea that more Steves was in the area. I guess him dropped off with the QBC tech as well to follow suit. And that is all going to be left to Mash in the final third. Again, Neon Rising. I feel this is just lack of knowledge because you're supposed to know that Neon Rising is in here, dog. You're supposed to know this. You are supposed to know this. This
Wow.
is something you should know. I mean,
My own is okay. You whether you know Neon Rising is here, well, let me assume they know it that Neon Rising lands around here. My own is you could all drop anybody, bro. You could have literally gone to drop anybody else. Like you picked. The question is why you if I thought you're going for a hot drop, why you hot dropping Neon Rising? Like there's 3 crown that will give you 10 points there though. Like hot drop
exactly.
them
Like,
and get the
like,
points. You know.
if you want to take risk, take it all the way, dog. Like, if you're trying to take risk, take it all the way. Get the maximum worth for the risk you're taking. Land in Painan and see where it goes. If you land in Painan and you don't win, we'll know that okay, we know what you went there for. We know why you went there. And we can respect that. But you're lying on New One Rising, you're outside in the open, your cheeks are in the air. What are you doing, dog? Like, what are you doing? But unfortunately, no rivals will be getting coughed out here. It looks like Mia's gonna peek out into the corner. Ooh, and Dax will close that one out. Neon Rising back into the lobby. Sorry, no rivals back into the lobby. And that is going to be the
Wow.
end of the road for them. Surely, surely, and I say to you most solemnly, that is
Yeah,
survival
GG's.
stage right there.
Yeah, yeah, GG's. I mean, it is GG's. I feel like anyway. We'll go into the last 2 games, and sorry, the last game of the day after this one, and I'll see what Neon Rising, sorry, no rivals would have to offer. But anyway, Afro Esports getting themselves a piece of the pie there as well as able to get themselves one elimination to go. The zone is looking to be on that northern side with Paradise Resorts being in the dead center. We have this idea of Tribe Warriors just chilling out there. Yesterday, I advised not to go into the center of the circle early because of the type of zone that we have. But this one, if you're one of those teams that like to play in the center, like Black Mamba, yeah, sure, fire away and go have your fun. But anyway, rotations were seen to start to come out. But on that northern side of things, we still have Athlete Gaming currently looking to be gate kept by the side of Unsolid Army.
Yeah. All eyes will be on them going forward. What they do, but it looks like Unsolid Army.
Yeah, that's something that I'm looking forward to. But on Solid Army already on the losing end of things, as they do lose one player. I was about to say their strategy for pushing does not seem to be very doesn't seem to be working very well, as we did see them push for a 2-2, and then they're all scattered. And once again, this is something that I like to say, like when we start to look at the way these teams play or the way these teams approach some things, it gets you a little bit confused, because going for a 1-1-1 split, trying to push into a fight, or well, once again looking for flank angles on compounds, is really not it. If you're already at this point where you feel like you need to find an off angle on your landing location, you might like you have a vehicle, you might as well just start your rotation and get out of dodge. And it looks like Consolidami might now be settling for that just after they've lost one player. It doesn't even look like Athlete Gaming is looking to push out of those compounds, at least not for the time being. They do still have the zone. On the northeastern, or make that the northwestern side of things, we still have this idea of Dream Team going up against Dark Knights, with Dream Team already losing one player early on in that engagement, and that is also another hot drop that we seem to be having going on. But other than that, everyone else does seem to be handling things calmly and rotating gingerly into the circle.
Well, it's all about the rotations and how they are able to make this into something special. But remember, 3 Crown Esports is the team to eliminate to get yourselves those extra points. You need to find them. You need to know it's them. And you need to go all out when you find out it's them. But for the most part, 3 Crown Esports sitting quite nicely on their way yet again to do 100 points in the Super Weekend. I think that would be a record, to do 100 point back-to-back in 2 separate Super Weekends. I don't think it's ever been done in the NPL. I think we've had the highest of 120 points in a single Super Weekend. I think that was Afro Esports in Season 6, if I'm not mistaken. So, but we've not had a team do 100 in this week and 100 in the following week. That has never been done. So I think 3 Crown Esports might just be the first team to do it.
Well, 20 points on the dot is 20 points on the dot is what they need in order to breach that 100-point mark. And obviously, 10 points per game is not something that is within or that is too far from reach for this idea of 3 Crown Esports. Zone does move up towards that north again. It's looking like a calm circle. And that's the question of when do the rotation start, as 14th Gaming already lose one on that first rotate.
Yeah, 14th Gaming having a very, very tough day, man. They've had a really, really struggling. They've been struggling all through today. 24K already down on his knees, waiting for that 7.62 load to drop on him, unfortunately. But it doesn't look like there's much to be done here. His teammates have abandoned him. I don't know why, though. I don't know why, but it looks like they are trying to get an angle here. And it is going to be Dark Knights getting spotted out. That's a good spray over to the other side. Shalom had no idea that the oppositions were in the area. Right. Uguay peeked out a little bit too long, gets dropped away. And that will give them some breathing room. Abubakar has to play behind them as well. But Dark Knights, they have been playing very, under the radar, very low key, not going too crazy with it, and it has been working in their favor for the most part. But again, it is just unfortunate that they do have to trade off. Abubakar gets knocked away. That's a beautiful spray. Again, I don't know why Abubakar did that. You don't have the high ground advantage, so I don't know. I didn't really see what the appeal for doing that was.
Now there is no reason for 14th Gaming to still be on top of this hill or this mountain.
At this point, yeah, I don't know why they're still up here, dog. Like, why are you still up here?
Ways, bro.
Your nade ain't gonna do it, bro. Come on, man. You guys, come on. Thank you. This is better. But then it's still
this is not gonna work.
Still taking so much time. It's still taking too much time.
This can't even work. This is not going to work.
He's not even fully committed. He hasn't turned the corner, and they are already aware of his presence. Wow.
Yeah, it's not being very quiet. That's the first knock there from the side of Dark Knight again onto the side of 14th Gaming, because I really do not understand what is going on here. Akesh on the flank. But he cannot be covered too much. There's grenades flying over towards Chinese's side, who's been down to 1 HP, forced to heal now, and that's another grenade, but not quite able to find the mark. Here comes the blue zone, starting to engulf the players as Kesh still being very skeptical as to pushing closer to the side there of Dark Knight. And I think Chinese has spotted him out, taking a couple shots, and he knows the damage has been done. Wants to fully commit, and here comes Abubakar with the ball from the right hand side. Drops down Kesh, and the side there of 14th Gaming left with just the one player shooting rounds from the top of. Let me not even get started because like I'll pick it up from 98k, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at a player that has a buggy, Abubakar. You have 300 fives plus 300 556. Why
Just
is that guy's
pressure
vehicle
him, man.
not? Thank you. Why is the
Blown
vehicle
up,
still in
like-
commission?
Why is the
know?
car not up in flames, bro? You can't allow him to use that vehicle to make a play. You gotta render that vehicle he has very useless in that advance. Come on now. You have the high ground position. You can even feed the rest of the team intel on that push. You can feed them intel and make sure that they are always within sight, because when you are playing a split, the whole point of playing a split is you can still see your teammates. There's no way he could see Kesh. There is no way he could see Kesh from up there. And Kesh made a rotation so close that he was already heard. They had already heard him, so there was no element of surprise. They were ready to receive Kesh in open arms, and they received him with that grenade that was sent his way, cutting his HP in half, putting pressure on him, putting fear into his body. And next thing you know, they pull up with the buggy, and it's night-night.
And same buggy that you refused to blow up, and it's just very interesting because they had a lot of nades on the top of that mountain. So why are you spamming nades from the top of the mountain when you could have pushed with Kesh and spam them the grenades in the building there? But unfortunately, sending just the one player is not the way to work, and this is not the time to find this out. And maybe this is the problem there with 14th Gaming, because it seems as though they're bringing attitude from the side there of they're bringing attitude from that lobby they had in league stage, bringing it to the Super Weekend, because I feel like they might have gotten away with that if they were to be playing in that that current league stage, though that lobby that they were in the league stage. But right now it doesn't seem to be working out well for them in the Super Weekend.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that as well. I think they are getting caught out. They make too many of these decisions without thinking it through. They keep forgetting that most of these teams will punish you for some kind of mistakes. If you make certain kinds of adjustments too late, you will get immediately punished. And Vanguard Esports, they will be trading blows here with 3 Crown, getting a little bit of a feel for each other. But it looks like that will put things into perspective. But it would have been very interesting if, any of them got the flush through, finding out that, it's these guys. Well, it looks like Quilla will be taking that upon himself. Gets a knock over to the other side, unfortunately. Now that will keep things into very, very difficult perspective. Vanguard taking yet another hit. 2 players now down and knocked away. But looks like Egungun is trying to find a way through here. He does have 3 knocked away. And Crazy Weathers, they know how to play defensively. Egungun is trying to find a way into the corners there, but can't seem to break through. He has the grenade in hand, trying to force him out. He immediately gets the drop. And unfortunately, Sisu fell for he fell for it. He really fell for it. The pull of the pin of the grenade, it works every time. And unfortunately, Crazy Weirdos will have a lot of pressure being sent their way. Arab T will turn them inside out. And I believe that will be Wicked getting out of dodge, leaving Mahmood to the Wolves.
As usual, activating that JP card, control up, and the JP is not taking any chances. Speaking of chances, Dream Team would have one more chance to make to gather points to get back into that top 6, as we do see them get taken out quite early on in the game. They're currently out in 14th position with only 1 elimination that they were able to get. But there's trouble in paradise as 10-11 Ecstasy pushes on to the side here of Tribe Warriors, who are already down by 2 players. But Ecstasy, Bego sticks a grenade to the face. But this is going to be all good as Tribe Warriors do get eliminated and 10-11 Ecstasy maintain a full squad.
Big moves. Big moves from Ecstasy. They will claim Paradise Resort for themselves, and that is a very, very solid part of the zone to be claiming at this stage. It is phase 4 of the circle. Dark Knights, on the other hand, are looking very comfortable here. They've secured a couple of eliminations, 7. They have 3 players up. Everything is going and it's looking very, very, very solid for them. All they have to do is keep the pressure on and get themselves into a very, very dicey position inside of that zone where they can get intel and still do damage. Again, that puts them into a very, very nice spot. Well, all they have to do now is ride the rest of the game through. This is the kind of number of eliminations you can get, and then you can start doing anything you like. I feel like this is just what it is. Where you get 7, 6 eliminations, you can do anything you want now. You can really do anything you want. Any strategy you want to pull out of thin air, now is the time to do it when you have stuff like this. But Dark, do they want that, or do they want to get a chicken dinner? I mean, imagine Dark eliminating 3 Crown Esports now. That would just be cherry on or icing on the cake for them, because I really want one of these teams, that's wallowing at the bottom, to turn things around.
Yeah, definitely. They need to turn things around. Going for that southern rotation does seem to be the pick, as they will be, leaving 4 portions alone with that engagement that 4 portion did seem to be in. And it looks like it's going to be Black Mamba to take out some of the players here from 4 portions. There's still trouble in Paradise here, but on the outskirts of Paradise is where we have Black Mamba looking to push up. And now they find out about 10-11 in the bad way possible. As you know, it's push up the Dark Knights. They have been holding back for 2 days now, but they continue. Here comes 3 Crown for the third party of the century. Abubakar trying to see if he can get that flank angle, but the shotgun already been doing damage there from Merrick. Drop shots not gonna work, as 3 Crown deny the players there from Dark Knights from getting any more points with the perfect third party.
What a third party that was. 3 Crown, they took the initiative. That is why they are one of the best teams, and they show you why. Take a look at that. The play zone shifts all the way towards Vanguard Esports. Again, they are blessed with the zone for the third time in a row. They have the zone, but unfortunately for them, they don't have the numbers. Now they are playing as 2, and it's going to cost a lot of resources for them to keep that particular position, because that is the only building inside of the zone. So it's going to be a very, very hot piece of real estate. But take a look at that. It is Black Mamba on the siege again. Peachy is the one that crashes up on the scene. And I was thinking he would toss a grenade over the top, but Clarity will be getting that finish. Peachy again going to be circling backwards and again trying to hold the lines. And there's more where that came from. Unsolid Army will be getting some intel thrown their way. Professor still bleeding out, and it doesn't look like he will be getting picked up. And he will fall. And that will be another point going towards the guys from 4 portions. Jimrat all by his lonesome. Has he been spotted? Jump shot over the top side doesn't connect. But the second one will connect, and that will be the end for Black Mamba. And 4 portion again starting to rise to the occasion.
Definitely doing so. And hopefully they'll be able to gather maximum points in this one. But we do see 3 Crown and XTC looking to go toe to toe. Quilla has been spotted on the other hand there by XTC, and it does look like more trouble to be coming in through. Amar is left to hold on the side there of 4 portions, while Bego and Danny Brown try to see if they can exert some dominance on that southern edge of the circle. This is what happens when you give XTC numbers, but they do have RT Sports, who might be able to just crawl in from behind, as 3 Crown would lose 2 on this final rotates there.
Yeah, that is exactly what we saw. 3 Crown Esports in a world of hurt, courtesy of Ecstasy, and they know that it is 3 Crown Esports. They have gotten the flush, and now they know that 10 points is a big, big potential for them right now if they can see to their demise. Once again, Ecstasy will be up 10 eliminations. We saw them do the exact same thing in Miramar, but now they have the power of friendship. They've got all their bodies up, and everything is working out for their good. Arab T will be their latest victims, and we are now down to 6 teams, 13 bodies in the cut. Danny Brown looking for a way through. He's hearing the vehicle in the distance, trying to make a way through. Amar gets a drop on Clarity again. We'll give him clarity with those M416 shots over to the other side. Merrick trying to make his way in from that western side of the zone. Unsolid Army not moving a muscle, just chilling, but Bego has arrived in that pole position.
And once again, I can hear every other team shooting except on Solid Army. It gets me asking the question, are you here to fight or not? Yesterday I called them for doing excursion, and it looks like that might be the case again here in the map here of Sandhog. Spotted by the side of 10-11 XTC. Danny Brown not staying very aware of 3 Crown Esports there. He's going to fall to Nexus from behind, and it looks like that blue zone might be taking Nexus out as well, as we might be losing the entirety. Actually, I think that is all of 3 Crown Esports eliminated. I don't think anyone gets 10 points for taking them out, as they completely went out to the blue zone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nexus knew what he was doing there. He knew what he was doing there. Going out to the zone in that fashion, he already knew that he wasn't trying to give nobody no 10 points, and that you got to respect it.
Late to the formats
on the board. Yeah, exactly. Played to the format. He knew exactly what he had to do there, and he did it. But now DYDX, can he get a drop on Bego? He is in a very, very solid position. But then knowing Ecstasy, they probably have the vehicle stashed somewhere, and they're going to rotate around these guys too sweet. We're going to see if that will work. But Monkey is still very much in it here. Can they make something happen? Bego continues to line the shots, and Monkey somehow has brought Vanguard Esports into the top three.
Collect.
DYDX peaks out a little bit too much, and Bego will give him a nasty shot to the head, a nasty blow. Concussions immediately, 48-64. But Bego is in an unfortunate scenario again, and here comes Monkey. She could turn this around and put them into a very tricky spot, but no, you are no match for Amar, as he will hold on and take that one into the final third. Unsullied Army will fall to the zone, and Ecstasy will take the chicken dinner without having to break a nail. The play zone will deliver it straight to their doorstep.
Once again, I find myself saying you speak about the map of Sandhawk and you can only think of one team. It is 10-11 Ecstasy. 2 Sandhawks played so far in the Super Weekend this week, and they have won both. And that is just the attitude that they bring into that map of Sandhawk. You do know, like, for aggressive teams, a very small and choked up map like Sandhawk is where they would find a field day. And 10-11 definitely enjoying themselves with that one, as we see them get 15 eliminations and a winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, we did see them turn things up. 10 eliminations in the previous game, 15 in this one. They are starting to show why they are the current champions of the Nigerian Pro League. And now, there was a little bit of questioning going on in the background of, the fall off is crazy, the fall off is nasty, the fall off needs to be studied. But Ecstasy are telling you that you thought I was finished? Y'all thought I was finished? Come on now. When I bought that Aston Martin, they thought it was running. 59 eliminations in total, 56 knocks to follow through. 5,600 in heals. That's a big number for Sanok, though. There's a lot of teams healing in this Sanok game, actually. But 3 grenade and limbs to follow through. But I mean, take a look at this comparison for crowds. Just take a look at these 2 different teams. This is first place and second place. The difference.
COVID numbers, bro. COVID numbers there for the side of Ecstasy with 2020 damage, 1,004 there coming in through from Unsullied Army. I do have to say, I am even surprised Unsullied Army has this amount of damage. But anyway, 4 knocks, 6 eliminations that they're able to accrue from that building. Then 11 Ecstasy getting themselves 13 knocks and 15 eliminations, as we have rightfully noted earlier. But man, 25 total points that first place was able to get, at second place Unsullied Army going out with just 12 points to their name. And I'm not surprised to see that much healing coming in through, because I mean, this last Sandhawk we saw, I think I saw like 2 to 3 different teams trying to pull off a huge strat for reasons best known to themselves. But anyway, Ecstasy and Marzinho going to be the one for the MVP title here. 6 eliminations out of 15 for the team, almost making it half, but 718 damage to go alongside it. It's definitely done his work.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. They put in all of that effort and it shows. But Amar was the man in front. Danny Brown playing right behind him as well. And C47. All of them inside of the top 5 of this match number 7. Merrick and Abubakar also putting in the work. And we loved every single minute of Dark Knights. They turned up. They got no placement, but they were absolutely cooking. 9 eliminations, but 25 points to Ecstasy. I think that puts them again very, very close to 3 Crown Esports. 3 Crown Esports is not going to run away with it this time. I don't see I don't just see those numbers running crazy right now for 3 Crown Esports. It also ties into the last game, but Unsullied Army 12 points to the good. That's a very good game for them. Dark Knights with 9, 4 potions with 6, Vanguard with 6 as well. Vanguard have been putting up points today, but I don't think it has been enough. I think if they do win the next game, there's a big chance that they may just put themselves, inside of that top 6.
I do not know. Black Mamba do seem to have put in a whole lot of numbers the week before. Overall leaderboards, we still have no new change. Actually, we do have a new change here, as we do see Amarzinho stepping up to 3rd position. He was previously in 5th, but now he's going to 4th. And then if you've been keeping an eye out on this, I guess you can kind of start to tell who is doing well and who's not doing too well. And speaking of not doing too well, I want to point that at Neon Rising. Not quite able to find their footing today, as we've seen them go out pretty much early in every single game. And then this is one more game where they've gone out early again. More Chicks, the only fragger, or well, the top fragger from that team, barely making it into this top 5 right now. We're starting to see them go out. Is this a little bit of a fall off that we're seeing from Neon Rising?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a fall off regardless, because it equals in performance with last week's Super Weekend. They're not doing worse than they did in week 1, but they're not doing better either. So I think they're sitting in a niche. Again, this is what separates the consistent teams with the teams that tend to struggle with lineups. A couple of lineups here, a couple of lineups there. But again, it's not too far-fetched. Again, I think they are in a dicey spot, though. Now that you mention it, Crowns, they are in a dicey spot. They're in a very dicey spot, because I think they averaged maybe 98 points or something along those lines. We're going to see the leaderboard, by tomorrow, and know who the top 6 teams are. But Neon Rising are actually not safe. The only way that can guarantee their safety is to win the next game, because it's worth double. That is the only way. No. And maybe eliminate, Ecstasy while they're at it, and also maybe win as 4 at the same time. I mean, that would be.
I think Neon Gaming are already in. I think with respect to the top 6 for the finals, I think we've got 3 Crown, Ecstasy, Black Mamba, Tribe, and Neon already in there. I think it's now a battle of who is going to take 14th gaming spot. I think that's where that whole back and forth is going to be coming through. I do not know if Vanguard has done enough to be up there, but we'll be seeing which team between Vanguard and Dream Team, which is why I said I want to see that battle between Vanguard and Dream Team. Try to see if they can go up against each other, try to prevent each other from making it into that top 6. But I think we're getting somewhere close. Hopefully Neon Rising are able to pull off a banger in this last game, because if they do, it's definitely going to be more cushion that they would have. But anyway, all these questions would be answered real soon. We're about to see probably one of the craziest Rondo games we'd ever witnessed, provided these teams remember that it is double points that they get there. But double points means double fun. We'll be having more fun as we come back from this beautiful break. See you soon.
From Peterborough, now everybody is ready to do that. Now the Warmison, Demo against Iva. He needs to clear that hill. The boys in yellow. Iva finds him, shuts him down. And 340, 10 more seconds through that door. The oil money team, are they going to make history? Very first land, very first win. 347, 348. Now the contest. The boys in three, no way through. And they are going to hold it down. So S are your champions.
Bold miracle.
2 sips of Monster Energy.
One's just. A happy boy. Energy.
The battle for double, the battle for it all, the battle for top 6 about to come to an end here in the final game of the Super Weekend. Priest, how are you feeling about heading into the Ruins and Rondo?
I mean, it's next level, you know. It's high stakes. If you want it, this is where you get it. If you can't get those extra bonus points to put in your pocket, because don't forget, it ties into the grand final, so every point is important. Every point you get in the the Super Weekend, it is very, very important. It ties into the finals. It ties into the grand finals as well. So we are going to get those top 6 teams, and all of them are going to turn things around for themselves in this final game. If the likes of Vanguard Esports can win as 4 and eliminate Ecstasy, and then maybe even just do something crazy in this final game.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Final game double points. 14th gaming takes out Ecstasy, wins with a full squad.
Ooh.
With a whole lot of eliminations, secured that spot in top 6. How about that?
I mean, because right now I think they're in a very shaky spot. I think I think they may even be tied with Vanguard Esports, because I think Vanguard Esports they've done well in both weeks. I think they've done well in both weeks, as opposed to doing very well in one week and then buying in another week. So you understand. So I think that's just where this stems from. I think there could be more. I think there could be more to look out for inside of the game. Inside of this game. What kind of zone is this?
Wait, leave zone first. Someone has just been piped with a sniper. And I have to just open things up. We're not even done landing. And I'm starting to come up with the conclusion, because this is my second time seeing Rondo now. And, the first time I was saying, the play path was heavy towards that eastern side, and the zone did go west. This time again, the zone is on the west again. It's the only western zones we get here. That's what I do for here. But yeah, nonetheless, we're already starting to see those hot drops come through. It's going to be no rivals going up against the side of 14th gaming. If you're looking at that elimination feed, you can already start to see what is going on. Solid Army having their own piece of hot drop, as well as they're looking to go up against the side there of who? I do not know. Unless they're fighting people I'm not understanding, but they've lost one player. They do not have any eliminations. I do not know what is going on. Wait, what?
What am I looking at?
Losing against Victor is crazy work. Oh. Does anybody in the chat understand what we've just witnessed?
No be Victor be that. No be God be that. Nah, that's crazy, dog. That is crazy, though. But no rivals will be first blood. They are back in the lobby, and that will be its certified survival stage. Certified survival stage. Again, I don't know who that Victor was, but that one is gonna be clipped for sure.
There's
But
a
we are
bunch
going to
of
keep our
Victors.
eyes peeled.
Ah,
We are going to be keeping our eyes peeled. Tribe Warriors here. They've, I think they did get to an earlier on engagement against the guys from Ecstasy. I think they were able to eliminate Bego. I'm not sure how that came out to be, but it is what it is. They traded one off, but Ecstasy also took, I believe, one of the players as well from Athlete Game. I'm not sure, but I'm not too certain. You know, there's a lot of chaos going on everywhere, but Tribe Warriors looking good. They're looking solid. They are in a 3-1 split, and I think they're just trying to gather intel. I think it's really more about gathering intel in these earlier stages than anything else.
well, yep. Either you start to gather intel, or well, you work on all the intel that you can find, and that is one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing. We saw Tribe Warriors do that yesterday, whereby it was a case of just whenever they hear the shots, they were just rotating, driving around. Wherever they hear the shots, they're like, "Oh, looks like we've got Candy," and then they stop over there to take the fight. I'm seeing a little bit of hesitation coming through from Tribe Warriors here, especially after getting those 2 eliminations. You do have one of those eliminations being 10-11 Ecstasy. I'm not sure if they are aware that they won the last game. I would have expected a little bit of an aggressive push onto this idea of 10-11 Ecstasy, but it doesn't look like they have that in mind at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. Doesn't look like they have that in mind at all. But unfortunately, we are starting to be locked in here to see how this Rondo game is going to play out. Again, there's a lot of strategies that will be going into this. Remember, it is worth double. The chicken dinner is worth 2. So you have to be very, very, very intentional with your decisions. You cannot be caught, second guessing. You cannot be caught getting lost every single thing that you do in this final Rondo game, because this is the last Super Weekend. This is the last time you will get an opportunity to get bonus points. This is going to be the last time that you will try to add some points up onto your team. So all eyes are going to be on those teams at the bottom. Is anybody going to turn things up?
Turn things up, turn things around, stare off all the trouble is what we want to see. Black Mamba going out quite early. I do not know what that spells for them, to be honest. But it does look like the players there from Crazy Weirdo was able to find their intro knock onto the side of Neon Rising, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not quite seeing that push coming through from them. And, Crazy Weirdos is striking me as that team that if they could just break that mental barrier of playing passive, I think they're a team that could actually do very well. They take their fights, it does seem like they could get accurate with their shots, but it's just a case of now they got 2 knocks onto Neon Rising, but did not push up to that fight. Probably just trying to get things sorted out early on in the game, like getting yourself vehicles early on in the game so you can make your pushes and rotation smoother. I think that's definitely something that can help them.
Well, you could be right about that one. A little bit more smoother gameplay from Crazy Weirdos. They are one of those teams that have it in them as well. Hopefully it will turn out to be very, very proactive, as it looks like they are setting their sights on Neon Rising this time, and they will be losing out on 1. But Athlete Game are going to be on the receiving end of some of this chaos, on some of these bullets flying in their general direction. It looks like Egungun as well will be getting dropped away there by Shalom from Dark Knights, and 10-11 are trying to breach. They want to close this out. Danny Brown faces shot over to the right hand side, but it looks like Great gets the first drop and another drop to follow through. Z47 in trouble. Ecstasy could be losing this one out. They trade off again, and Mando trying his best to circle back. Amar going to be the last one left, and the grenade will follow suit. More grenades as well. Over to the other side. Beautiful grenade, and again it is Tribe Warriors that come inside and steal it all away, and they will discover Amar and close him out as well. That is how you decide. That is really them taking the game by the scruff of the neck rounds.
And they are doing exactly what they did yesterday all over again. They hear the shots, they push up for the third party and clean things out. Did not get too much eliminations, but 10-11 ecstasy. What was that push? I was about to say, Daddy Brown, why are you nearing this window? Like, bro, don't tell me you want to vault the window. There was a wide door that they could have used, but unfortunately, they got overwhelmed by the side of Athlete Gaming. That was such a hold coming through from Athlete Gaming. I'm impressed. I liked what I saw there. But anyway, rotation still coming in through Afro Esports from the south, and it looks like 3 Crown Esports, still in that little bit of an engagement with RFT Esports.
Yeah, it looks like they will be trading blows back and forth, but looks like RFT are more interested in holding that northern side position or maybe making a rotation around. But they have to be very careful. 4Portion is also in the backdrop. Don't forget, Ecstasy have been eliminated by Tribe. That is +10 for Tribe Warriors. So they have taken away the bonus points that comes with that. The best thing that could happen to them now was to win this game. And that will be a very interesting turn of events. But let's not forget, the bonus points have not been added yet. They will be added at the end of this game, so everybody will know what their bonus points have done for them going forward. Let's not forget, Vanguard Esports, they have bonus points in the bag. They got one today as well. So all of these things will tie in. We'll see what the leaderboard looks like. So tune in to the leaderboard tomorrow to know who the top 6 teams that have qualified into the finals are and who will be punching the air in the survival stages.
Well, punching the air is definitely something that we're looking out for. Neon Rising looking to go for a slower rotate this time in this final game. We already see them up to 6 eliminations, and they still have all 4 players still alive on this one. 14th Gaming still alive as well, but I guess I'm not gonna say, oh, congrats to them for staying alive for this long, because we still have 11 teams left in the lobby. Dream Team still alive with a full squad as well, and well, we do know like they're one of those teams who could still be in that running for that top 6. Question is, can they do it with this final game in Rondo?
Well, that is a very, very valid question, because as it stands right now, 14th Gaming have 85 points. 81 as it did.
It looks like Dream Team are looking to start to increase those points count as they get that first knock onto Finger from the side of Tribe Warriors. It doesn't look as though they're trying to commit for that engagement or to that engagement just yet, as we still see that one knock still being down. Dream Team still driving around, and this is where I might start to fault them for the way they're approaching this fight, because they do seem to be doing a lot of driving and not too much shooting, even given the fact that they already have that one knock. And it looks like Tribe Warriors are already headed over there for the revive. Night Revive will come through. Dream Team, what is your move?
Well, that is, I want to know what the move will potentially be here. Tribe Warriors, they have done everything right up until this point if they can keep the pressure off themselves, but Storm will be circling back to reposition with the rest of his team. Tribe Warriors could be in some trouble here. Lazy's peeked out a little bit too much, but Devil, unfortunately, is not going to be so lucky. He will be getting swept to the side, and Lazy has to go for that pickup. But again, Tribe Warriors have the entire area locked down. Sook has been knocked away, though. That will give them a very interesting retrospective, at least for how they want to advance this going forward. Dream Team have a different approach. They want to utilize the high ground even more. Devil, I'm not sure if they want to sacrifice anyone going for that pickup, but Tribe Warriors, they will do it, as a Finger will finger Devil and send him back into the lobby. Unfortunately, that will be good enough for him. Lazy beat out a little bit too long, but that is exactly the plan that Dream Team were looking to come through with, and it did work. They will catch Lick in the open, and he's going to get knocked away. Tribe Warriors now, unfortunately for them, they will not win as 4. They have lost 1, and Dream Team right now, it looks like their strategy might just be paying off.
Just might. It's still a trade initiated on both sides. 3 players still alive on both sides with 1 player knocked. That is the situation we have, but it looks like the side of Tribe Warriors grab their lead back. And now they look for more angles they would find as Lazy falls. Dream Team down to the last player to hold on the fort. But in other news, we've got 4 portions, taking all the damage and drama to the side there of RT Esports, who are already down by 1. Looking to hold down the fort here is going to be 1v1 and Rodo, who seems to be getting that revive. But 4 portions, they're pushing it for that push. It is La. Very close, and grenades being sent in, none to connect just yet. Another one flies, but none to find. As the side of RT continue with the defense, Dream Team on the other hand currently getting swept away.
Yeah, Dream Team getting absolutely demolished. We saw that it was a very, very hard shift for them, and they will be getting dropped off. But 419 the silent, and then we will lose yet another body. Ataru, they try to do a little bit of a surprise. Unfortunately, ain't nobody birthday out here, my guy, as RT will be swept away in 11th. And that will also be following their hopes and dreams back to the survival stages. As all eyes are going to be on them in those stages as well. As a couple of other teams are starting to break the silence as well. But we want to keep things very, very, abrasive for teams like Dark Knights that still haven't been able to secure any eliminations. Hey, yo, I did not know vehicles could crash like that.
Hey, I mean, we do know the Chinese wooden structures to be some of those softer ones, but yeah, that's enough speed to crash that one there. 3 Crown Esports on the top of the hill, though, now getting themselves shot back by the side of Dark Knights, as Dark Knights are like, how dare you? How dare you destroy my beautiful vehicle? Does look like all of this trouble is happening on that eastern, make that the western side, where we've got 3 Crown, Afro Esports, and Dream Team, and we've got some of the players there from Tribe Warriors looking to head towards that vicinity. But on the north, it is 4 portions and Dark Knights to hold down the fort, with La having a grenade in hand. Here comes where they just wait. Can 4 portion win 2 in a row? That's the question we've got.
Will 4 portions have it in their sights? If they can do this, that could put them in a very interesting spot. But unfortunately for them, they did not make, chicken dinner. They did not make the super weekend in week number 1. But again, winning the game is not a bad call. It will still tie up towards the grand final points. So every point you get here is going to be a big one for you. Cloud has been knocked away though. 3 Crown could have a little bit of a stifle on their hands here. There's a lot of teams in the southwestern corner trying to make their way through. Abubakar with the first drop. 4 portions could be in trouble again. Being saved to the jump shot. Gets the third. Hopefully might get the third one as well. But unfortunately, Clarity will see him clear and in HD and will stop that nonsense.
Woo! Just a little hesitation there. A little bit of hesitation coming through from Abubakar, and unfortunately he was punished for that. 4 portions. Stay alive in this one and do not get clutched out in that situation. But anyway, it does look like 3 Crown taking a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of fights out there on that western edge. Tribe Warriors still remain as a 2-man squad. We did see them get we did see them take some shots from the side there of 14th Gaming, but it doesn't look like 14th Gaming were looking to capitalize fully and completely on that one. Zone does center up quite nicely. No team in the zone right now, but everyone's gonna have to move. The airdrop does seem to be a very good spot, a spot that has the high ground, as 3 Crown Esports just looking for players just outside the map, and Calculus definitely gonna go down as 3 Crown Esports come driving by to get their first elimination of the day.
Yes, sir. Good start. Very good start from 3 Crown Esports. That extra elimination just puts them out of reach for Ecstasy. Ecstasy was sitting quite nicely with the 5 eliminations that they were able to secure. But unfortunately, 3 Crown Esports will be finishing this on top. And now they are just a couple of points shy of crossing the 100-point benchmark again for the 2nd week in a row. The 98k is not looking good right now. He will be getting hit, but 24k will trade it off. And Afro Esports in a very, very hot exchange. They are out in the open and they are getting swept away. This could be the moment that does it though. 14th Gaming, this could be it for them. They're down to just 1. 24k is spotted as well. Will be sent back into the lobby. 98k to follow as well. Dax has been spotted and so gets a drop over him as well into that corner. and Uguay is last one left. He has been spotted as well, but now the opposition, 3 Crown Esports, coming in off the northern side. It is a very, very tricky spot to be in right now, but they are trying to deal with him. Merrick peeks out. He switches. Why is the S12 kissing in your hand, dog?
He needs that reload. But anyway, Tribe Warriors trying to see if they can find their way into the zone, but so could fall. Finger, the last player left, trying to see if he can patch his HP up. But that zone is ever so unforgiving. Merrick reforms up with the teammates as he cannot afford to go out. They want all the points here, 3 Crown, as they await Tribe Warriors to try to get into the zone. Finger finally pops out of the building, trying to see if he can make it out, but you the best to deny those points. And 3 Crown Esports understand that blue zone might just be taking him out. They do lose one player as they try to make their rotate come through. Neon Rising still alive, 4 portions, doing a whole lot of damage, and Vanguard still remain alive with at least 3 players.
Yeah, Vanguard looking strong here. A chicken dinner here will turn everything upside down for 14th Gaming because they have once again falling and cracked under the pressure. Monkey peeks out, getting dropped immediately there by more Steez. Neon Rising looking very, very strong right there. But Too Cold had the opportunity to get that drop on him. But it looks like that's not going to be the case. And here comes Neon Rising now. Their focus has been divided. Ooh! Yeah, that was a crash and burn. More pain will feel more pain as that vehicle crashes and burns straight into him. Too Cold has to circle back again. More Chase peeks out, but unfortunately gets dropped away immediately there. There's more pressure as more Steez also peeks out. He's going to take more hits. 3 Crown Esports will not allow that push to come through. 4 portion over to the other side of the hill. They know that every single point here matters. Double the points, double the action. Every single decision here will lead onto that. They know that there's a big chance for them to get into the finals and skip survival week. They do not want to play it, and Artist is going to be the victim there. He's gonna get dropped off, and somehow that will be the end for Vanguard Esports. They go out with no points on the board.
Now we're down to the ultimate 4v4. Cloud and North Angle, but he's been spotted by Skinny. And then there we go. He's going to get uprooted by Peachy in the meanwhile. And that's 3 Crown losing 1 angle. Nexus looking for a little bit of a trade, but cannot find. And 4 portions. As a full squad would win the final chicken dinner of the day. They got a bunch of eliminations to go alongside it. And it is looking as though they'll be getting those double points. But the question is, what would those double points mean for 4 portions? This is why we ask you guys to bring your best from the beginning. Because right now it is seeming as though this idea of 4 portion might have done this a little too late.
Yeah, I feel like they turned things around very, very late. This was a performance they should have brought yesterday, but it's not bad. It's not too bad. You know, it still ties towards the grand final points. It's not the worst thing in the world. You know, I think they averaged maybe 34, 35 points if you add the bonus. It's not crazy, but unfortunately it's just not enough. You know, we have teams that have already in 100, you know, and the likes of those, but it's not the worst thing to happen to them regardless. Skinny, 419, Peachy, and Clarity putting in the work. 14 eliminations. It is not bad at all.
Yeah, definitely. Peachy standing up to the occasion there. 6 eliminations by his lonesome, and Clarity getting those clutch moments. I feel like all Clarity's eliminations were absolutely clutch eliminations that needed to be done. But anyway, 17 knockouts coming through in a game where we had barely 64 players. That goes to show you just how much of a chaos was going on. But it's a it's a relatively large map, so I can understand that there will be a lot of reviving as we're seeing 7,500 total healings.
Yeah, exactly. You know, 4 portions in front and center. Now, this is the performance I was expecting from them from the jump, and we've seen how crazy it can get. 24 total points, 19 minutes on the clock, and they also put 14 eliminations in the box as well. But 3 Crown Esports still consistent. They did put some eliminations in there as well, still doing some extra damage. And I think with that performance, they also crossed the 100-point threshold for the 2nd week in a row. But Finger is the MVP, and well deserved. 1,300 plus in damage points, 4 eliminations, 18 minutes on the clock. Tribe Warriors have a gem in this guy.
And you know, it does seem like he finds his footing on this map of Rondo, because he was the MVP on Rondo as of yesterday, where he got 12 eliminations alone in that map. And then today again, he's come through to be the MVP of the map with 4 eliminations, 1,300 damage to go alongside it, 6 knocks that he was able to get on his lonesome. And you can just tell that this player has absolute fun when playing in the ruins and this map here of Rondo. Tribe Warriors, unfortunately, not quite able to grab themselves any chicken dinner at all in this Super Weekend. And I did say they were a team that seemed to deserve at least one win in this Super Weekend.
Yeah, you're right. At least one. It was well deserved. But you know, the game always has different plans for you when you are trying to achieve something within it, regardless. But 419 was still in the cut as well for 4 portions inside of this game. 24K also putting in some points for 14th Gaming. So I think 14th Gaming with this, they have done just enough to stay inside of the top 6. They did manage to get some points inside of this game. So I think that, yeah, you went under the radar. 24K, you went under the radar, but he did secure some eliminations for 14th Gaming towards the end of their game. So yeah, it was a good performance regardless. I think they did manage, you know, to put some things in there. I mean, 6 eliminations in total, 8 points. I think they've done just enough. Claire of Vanguard Esports, but 24 points for 4 portions plus the bonus that comes later. It's a very, very solid game for them. 3 Crown Esports consistent with the double digits, 12 points to the good Tribe Warriors and Neon Rising. Neon Rising reminding us who they are, 11 points to the good, and that is a vehement to how strong, you know, they are as a team when they decide to, you know, play as a unit. It shows. Ecstasy with 5, Vanguard and Afro Esports all with 5 apiece. But outside of those two, I'm not sure Afro Esports are even in the conversation as well. But Athlete Game also putting in some nice performances there. We saw that little hold that they had against Ecstasy. It was looking all great until Tribe Warriors just decided to crash the party. But it was a very, very good hold. We hope to see more of that from them in the survival stages. Arab T on Solid Army Dream Team still couldn't hack it. Dream Team again falling off. I think it shows you how difficult, you know, this particular Super Weekend is compared to the last one, compared to week 1. A couple of changes, minor changes in the teams that are here, but it's starting to show, you know, in the overalls.
Oh, speaking of the overalls, Finger back to his #1 spot for the Super Weekend as he's able to get himself 22 eliminations. The Gym Rat not quite able to put in performances as we did see Black Mamba go out early in the final 2 games of the day. Definitely not the way they wanted to start. And I think for Black Mamba, they will be so pained if it turns out that these last 2 games where they did not get any points happen to be the games that prevents them from making it in that top 6, as we do know it's still relatively shaky. Mal from Ecstasy able to make his way into that MVP list to 23 eliminations. Mochik still maintaining his spot, and Merrick from 3 Crown Esports making it up here. And I think we have 1 player each from every team that is in that top 5. That just goes to show you that these teams did come out here to play good PUBG Mobile.
Yes, good PUBG Mobile is what we absolutely win. And we realize that all the chicken dinners are on the left side, on the right side, no chicken dinners at all. And that shows you the value of chicken dinners. But right now, we've seen 104 points to 3 Crown Esports. They have bested their previous record from last week from 100. Now they've added 4 more. Ecstasy in second place, 92 points to the good Tribe in third with 76. Black Mamba in fourth with 68. Did they do enough to be inside of the top 6? I'm not sure, but I know that they have. They put in an amazing performance in this Super Weekend compared to last week, yeah, regardless. But Neon Rising also putting in that work, 65 points to the good, 4 portion with 61. And Vanguard with 46, Dream Team with 35, Arab T in 9th with 34, Afro Esports with 33, 29 to Dark on Solid Army with 23, 14th with 14. And Crazy Weirdos with 10, Athlete Game with 10 as well, and No Rivals with 4 out of 8 games.
Oh, I'm not going to dwell too much on that one. But once again, 3 Crown Esports were able to breach that 100-point mark. So that is 100 points every 8 game that they've been able to average. That is very, very good numbers. I can't lie. just love to see that one coming through from the team. But nonetheless, the question still remains: who are the top 6 that made it into the finals? One could almost predict it, but at the same time, when you start to look at those bonus points, you realize that there is quite a lot that could change when we start to look at the top of those leaderboards. Did Dream Team do enough? Did Vanguard do enough? Did the side there or 4 portion even get enough with 61 points? These are questions that we hope to have answers when those leaderboards comes out. But Priest, general roundup for today. How did you feel about the games?
I mean, it was good. It was great. Highlight for me was the 1v3 against RFT from Jimra. That was peak. But we did see a little bit of, ecstasy, finding their rhythm. 14th Gaming Dream Team, they weren't hacking it for me today. And owing to the fact that I've seen how well they can perform, it's a little bit of a bummer. It would be even worse if none of them actually qualify into top 6. It would be even weird if they don't, because Black Mamba, I believe Black Mamba somehow their performance puts them into the top draw. But for the most part, survival week is upon us right now, so we're going to see what that one will have in store for us by Tuesday. But other than that, it has been an amazing super weekend, the last super weekend of the Nigerian Pro League season 8 Hamatan split, and it has been a very, very fun ride with you, Crowns.
Pause. But anyway, any words really for the side there of for the side of the teams who will be heading into the survival stage?
I mean, if you've seen now, this is the best time for VOD reviews. You gotta just take a step back. There's no more rondo going forward. There's no more bonus points from this stage going forward. It's all pure violence and your skill. Bonus points were an incentive offered to teams that were willing to go the extra mile. Do a little something out of the ordinary, do a little something out of the box, and get rewarded. And now that has come to an end. There's no longer any bonus points from this stage going forward. We're going straight into the finals. You don't get no rondos anymore. You don't get no anything crazy anymore. It is now straight down to business. And now those top 6 teams, I'm pretty sure they'll be happy. But the survival teams, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a very, very tricky game for the survival team players. I really want them to go all out. I really want them to feel like it's the super weekend right now, and you just want to go all out. You cannot be like 4 portions. You cannot wait to the last day. You have to start with your foot on the gas.
Alrighty, definitely. And I think my word to those teams who will be playing in the survival stage: if you've made it into any of the super weekends, you've pretty much seen as hard as it could get. And you do know that these top 5 teams from that super weekend are not going to be letting the pedal go whenever they get into the finals. I have said this remark about most of the teams that are currently in that top 5. Like the top 5 right now, or most of the teams in that top 5, and I'm pretty sure the Neon Risings, the 3 Crowns, I have been saying it does look like they still have something up their sleeves that they're hiding, and I'm pretty sure the finals is where they would want to bring out all of that prowess. But that being said, we're not going to anticipate too much. We do know it's going to start on Tuesday, so stay glued to the channels. Be sure to follow 10 and 80 on Instagram and every socials to stay up to date with the leaderboards. But that being said, Priest, thank you so much for your time today. Everyone else in the chat, thank you for sharing the stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being active in the chat. But without further ado, Shade Adu, Hula Balu, and Oiti Toiti, I say good night, Nigeria, and we'll be seeing you once more for the survival stages. Have a good one.